Chapter 41-25. Everyone was fully armed. When they opened the door, they almost fainted from the stench of the corpse. It was too smelly. The giant had already appeared, which meant that the person had been dead for some time. They saw a corpse lying on the ground in a strange position. Dong Qian endured the stench. When he saw the corpse, the hope in his heart was completely annihilated. This lunatic really died here. She was really crazy. She just made a scene and she really killed herself? Was she crazy? Dong Qian's teeth were chattering. He couldn't help but tremble. He felt fear from the bottom of his heart. It was fine if she died, but the most unlucky one was him. She died in his house. Moreover, he had a conflict with her before. He became a suspect. He didn't kill her, but he was wrongly accused of being a murderer. Dong Qian's heart was full of shit. It seemed that not only did he kill her, but he also hid the corpse. Although this logic didn't make sense, the corpse was now smelly. The police looked at him with suspicion. The identification department had already started work. Soon, the forensic doctor arrived. After a simple examination, the body was put into a bag and brought back to the station to prepare for a new examination. As a suspect, Dong Qian was also taken away. He argued, "You can't arrest me. I didn't kill anyone. Why would I kill her? Please cooperate with our investigation. No one said that you killed anyone," the police said directly. "But your eyes are full of doubt." Dong Qian said, "I have my own lawyer. Before that, I won't speak." The police couldn't be bothered. It was more important to find out the identity of the victim and how she died. No matter what, Dong Qian couldn't escape suspicion. It would take a long time to prove his innocence. Even if Dong Qian didn't die, he would lose a layer of skin. Soon, the news of Ning Shu's death was spread on the internet. After all, there was no such thing as a wall that didn't leak. She died in the villa of a rich second-generation heir. It was obvious that this matter was related to the rich second-generation heir. There were even all kinds of rumors. Some people even thought that she died of abuse. In short, all kinds of rumors forced Dong Qian into the public's eyes. The Dong family was also pulled out at any time. In short, the label of being rich and heartless was placed on the Dong family. No one knew how much of an impact it had, but it could be seen from the stock market. Ever since this incident happened, the Dong family's company's stock market had been on the rise, and a lot of their assets had evaporated. Moreover, public opinion was very unfavorable to the Dong family. Although they could delete some things, the problem was that doing such things at this time was adding fuel to the fire. Moreover, Dong Qian was now a criminal suspect. The most important thing was to prove his innocence. Even if he was proven innocent in the end, this matter was still a stain on Dong Qian's record. Dong Qian's expression was very ugly at the police station. He didn't expect that such a target would put him in such a passive situation. Moreover, if you pull out the radish, the mud will come with it. It was very likely that the things he did in private would also be pulled out. The chat group, Dong Qian was adamant that he didn't kill anyone, but some things couldn't be eliminated just because he proved his innocence. Dong Qian's parents prepared a team of lawyers for Dong Qian to ensure that their child was innocent. No matter where it was, some people had special privileges, such as Dong Qian, but as an ordinary person, Zhang Qi did not have the right to have such privileges. The police began to interrogate Zhang Qi. Zhang Qi didn't know what was going on at all. It hadn't even started yet, but the police sat in front of him. The pale light hit his face, and it was very dazzling. Zhang Qi couldn't help but block the light with his hand. Such a move was nothing more than to break the psychology of the person being interrogated and make people more afraid. Generally, people with strong hearts wouldn't care, but Zhang Qi had never been a psychologically strong person. His heart was uneasy. What did he do wrong? His back was oozing with cold sweat. The police went straight to the point and said, "Your ex-girlfriend, Shin Xiaodai, is dead." What? Zhang Qi didn't react. "Who's dead?" "It's Shin Xiaodai, your ex-girlfriend. Before she died, she mentioned you." "What is your relationship with Dong Qian?" Zhang Qi was really confused. First, his ex-girlfriend was dead, and then Dong Qian. Who is Dong Qian? "I don't know Dong Qian." Zhang Qi reacted and immediately said excitedly, "Police, I didn't kill anyone. Shen Xiaodai has nothing to do with me. I have already broken up with her. Zhang Qi found out that his ex-girlfriend was dead, and now he was involved in it. He couldn't help but curse in his heart. This woman is crazy. Nothing good will come out of being involved with her. He was being chased for a debt, and now he was involved in a murder case. The police directly took out the video and showed it to Zhang Qi. Zhang Qi looked at this scene, and his first reaction was that this woman was still so cheap. Zhang Qi said without thinking, "Uncle Police, she may have committed suicide. This woman is a madman. When she was with me, she committed suicide once." The police said directly, "I ask you, what is your relationship with Dong Qian, and what do you mean by the two of you in the video?" This was the key question. Zhang Qi wanted to hide the chat group. His face suddenly changed and his eyes drifted. It doesn't mean anything. This woman has a persecutory delusion. She thinks that if others don't love her, the sky will fall. I broke up with her because I couldn't stand it. You don't know, but she cut her hand into a bloody mess. Normal people can't stand it. Zhang Qi was trying to change the topic, but the police felt it. What is your relationship with Dong Qian? Zhang Qi immediately said, "We don't know each other. It really doesn't matter. This is the first time I've heard the name Dong Qian." Zhang Qi suspected that Dong Qian was the great god in the chat group, but now the great god had fallen. The murder case couldn't be linked to him. The only thing he needed to hide was that thing. The police didn't keep asking, but ignored Zhang Qi. "We can naturally find out what your relationship is." Zhang Qi's legs were shaking, and he was hoping for a fluke. Ning Shu had no physical restrictions, so he could do whatever he wanted. When he was free, he would go to Dong Qian's ear and call him brother. Especially when he was sleeping, he would blow a cold wind in his ear and shout, "Brother, sister is back to see you." Dong Qian was a firm non-believer. He was not superstitious. As for things like science, it was not that he didn't believe in it. If there was really a ghost, he had done so many things before. Was there any retribution? Chapter 41-26. What 18 levels of hell? What retribution? Those were just the self-consolation and helpless curses of the weak. The weak were the weak. Ning Shu looked at Dong Qian, who was making a solemn vow. "It's all right. We have time anyway. Let's take it slow." In the beginning, Ning Shu only harassed Dong Qian when he was sleeping. It was best if he could not sleep well and had a nervous breakdown. Dong Qian could not sleep well that night. He felt that it was because he was overthinking. After all, it was a human life. He still had some feelings. Ning Shu nagged his brother every day. "Sister loves you. She loves you very much." When the Dong family saw Dong Qian so dispirited with dark circles under his eyes, they asked him anxiously, "Did you really kill her?" Dong Qian did not sleep well. Faced with his family's questioning, he was furious. "Who is she? Why should I ruin my life for her? It was not worth it at all. She had nothing. If nothing happened, he would inherit his father's wealth in the future. He would inherit his father's social status and live a life of luxury. Why should he do that? Was it worth it? Any normal person would know what to do. He had set up that group to have fun. Life was too boring. He wanted to have fun and seek excitement. However, he knew that he would not kill anyone. The nature of the matter would be different, just like now. No matter how this person died, she couldn't get away with it. This was the most ridiculous thing. She didn't know if it would affect her wealthy life. At least, he could not appear in the public eye for a long time. Needless to say, after this incident, he would be sent abroad for a period of time. When he came back, he would be a good man again. Dong Qian swore that he really did not kill anyone. At most, he was just toying with her. Even ghosts did not know what was in this woman's mind. If he knew that this woman had such a personality, such a lunatic, he would not have provoked her. Dong Qian did not rest well and had a bad temper. At first, it was only at night. It felt like a dream. However, during the day, there were voices in his ears. Every day, there would be younger brothers and sisters. Dong Qian went directly to the doctor and asked the doctor to prescribe medicine. At night, he took the medicine and slept even more deeply. This way, he could not hear anything. From a certain perspective, Dong Qian's mentality was still quite strong. So what if he fell asleep? Ning Shu directly used his spiritual power to attack Dong Qian's head. It was so painful that Dong Qian directly woke up from his sleep. When he woke up, he heard, "Little brother, big sister loves you." Damn it. Dong Qian was incomparably gloomy. He took a deep breath and told his father to find a grandmaster. If there really was a ghost, then he would destroy that bastard soul. When Dong Qian's father heard this, he immediately slapped Dong Qian's face. Is there something wrong with your brain? At such a sensitive time, you actually still want to find a master. What will the outside world think? They will think that you did something wrong and insist on catching ghosts. Dong Qian's father gritted his teeth. Even if there is a ghost, you have to bear with it. Everyone is watching now. Dong Qian rubbed his face and gritted his teeth. He no longer wanted to ask for a grandmaster. He endured the nagging in his ears, and his head felt like it was going to split open. He discovered a rule. If he fell asleep, he would definitely be woken up. If he was awake, he would not suffer any pain. Then he would have to endure the nagging of a lunatic in his ears. He did not know if he was a lunatic or if there really was a lunatic. Dong Qian felt that it was already very impressive that he was able to endure until now. Although he was extremely dispirited, he had not slept for several days. Damn it, if he did not sleep soon, he would collapse. While Dong Qian was suffering, Zhang Qi was also suffering. The interrogation room was giving Zhang Qi the cold shoulder. The longer Zhang Qi waited, the more anxious he felt. When he was sent to the interrogation room, Zhang Qi finally felt a sense of relief in his heart. However, there was also a sense of nervousness and resistance in his heart. In short, it was indescribably complicated. After another round of interrogation, Zhang Qi was already very tired. He just wanted to say that he had nothing to do with the murder case. I guess he's from the chat group. Zhang Qi explained everything that had happened before clearly. The more he spoke, the more relaxed he became. In the end, he sat down on the chair, completely dispirited. I've already said everything that needs to be said. We're just playing around for fun. It shouldn't be a big deal, right? Police, you guys are a fraud gang. How can it be nothing? Moreover, the police found Ning Shu's report record. This is a bit interesting. Is it because this girl knew about these things and wanted to expose them and was killed? Police, do you know that she reported your chat group? Zhang Qi immediately retorted, impossible. She's a person who doesn't know anything. How could it be? If she knew, why would she commit suicide? The police realized that this chat group was a negative thing, wantonly emitting negative energy. They did not remove the chat group immediately. Instead, they locked the IP address through the comments of the group members. The internet was not an illegal place. They did not commit any crimes, but it could be defined as fraud. Defrauding money from girls, and even spreading diseases, these were all crimes. Zhang Qi was going to be detained. Zhang Qi was in a bad mood. I've told you everything I know. I didn't kill anyone. Why are you arresting me? He was just playing around. Dong Qian learned from some sources that someone had entered the chat group, and it was Xin Xiaodia's ex-boyfriend. He immediately felt the danger and immediately disbanded the chat group. Although it has been disbanded, the police understood what they needed to know. For a period of time, Dong Qian's whole body was thin and listless, as if covered with a layer of dust. He did not know what had happened. Even if he used medical means to sleep, he was still awakened by a headache. He once suspected that something had grown in his brain. Various examinations were done, but nothing worked. Because he could not sleep, his eyes were protruding, and the area around his eyes was dark. He was like a panda, but not as cute as a panda. Little brother, you're just a little brother. Seeing Dong Qian like this, the family felt that if this went on, Dong Qian would die before the police could investigate anything. Dong Qian's father secretly found a master for Dong Qian. His son's life was more important. In front of the master, Ning Shu whispered in Dong Qian's ear, "Little brother, I love you." Dong Qian. He silently looked at the master who performed the procedure. His gloomy face made the master's hands tremble. What does this customer mean? What does this look mean? The master performed a series of operations, and Dong Qian's ear was filled with all kinds of sweet words. He could no longer look at the word little brother, directly. Chapter 41:27. As expected, it was useless. Dong Qian stared at the master as if he was looking at an idiot, deceiving people with a straight face. How interesting was that? Did he not realize that the ghost was talking in his ear? What kind of professional ability was that? Dong Qian was already disappointed with these masters. Was there a problem with him? Was he hallucinating, or was there really a ghost? Thus, Dong Qian firmly believed that there was no ghost, but there was nothing wrong with his body either. As for why this happened, it was probably an unsolved mystery of the world. In short, there was nothing wrong with him at all. Compared to the others who were terrified, Dong Qian was very calm. He was so calm that Ning Shu admired him a little. He firmly believed that there was nothing wrong with him. Even if there was a problem, it would be the world's fault. This kind of firm attitude of pushing the blame was amazing. After the master worked for a while, he said to Dong Qian, "The matter has been resolved. However, this is detrimental to your virtue. Do more good deeds when you have nothing to do." Dong Qian's thin face was full of mockery. He stared at the master with a gloomy gaze. Detrimental to virtue? Should I give more incense money to do good deeds? The master was speechless. He must be the reincarnation of a fucking contrarian. However, when he thought of the Dong family's wealth, he endured it and calmly said, "You don't have to give incense money. You can donate." Dong Qian snorted. "Then I'll donate 2 million to Project Hope." The master's face suddenly showed a pained expression. How good would it be if the 2 million was given to him? Was this guy an idiot? He was the one who helped solve the problem, but in the end, he donated the money to Project Hope, which had nothing to do with him. Damn it. He was busy for a while, but in the end, he was busy for others. Dong Qian saw the interesting expression on the master's face and immediately laughed cheerfully, making his face look even more twisted. Ning Shu also laughed in Dong Qian's ear. His laughter was like a barbell. "Little brother, it's so interesting. I really can't bear to leave. Let's be together forever." Then, Dong Qian's face became even more twisted. It was terrifying. The master immediately said in his heart, "This is hopeless. Just wait for death." This was not a ghost, but a lunatic. After the master received his reward, he left dejectedly. He did not want to take any big money from the Dong family. He left with the little money in case his boat capsized. Now, he was beginning to believe that it was Dong Qian, this lunatic, who had killed the little girl. If it wasn't illegal for a lunatic to kill someone, perhaps Dong Qian could use this to avoid being punished by the law. However, since the heir of the Dong family had become a lunatic, he might not be able to inherit the company in this lifetime. A lunatic who inherited the company probably wanted to have fun. Dong Qian's father looked at his son. Looking at his gloomy face, he expected better from him. What's going on? Even the master has been called, but he's still like this. Tell me, did he kill someone? Dong Qian heard a woman talking in his ear, refuting his father, "I didn't kill anyone." Then what's going on now? They're looking for masters and doctors. Who would believe that they're fine? It's best if they can avoid this. If they can't, Dong Qian's father's words were very clear. It was fine as long as Dong Qian didn't go overboard. If he went overboard, then sorry, she didn't really educate the child, but if something happened to the child and there was no turning back, then she could only give up. Dong Qian understood very well, and his face became even more twisted and gloomy. The heir of a company was like this. Sooner or later he would have to go overboard. Dong Qian's father couldn't help but shake his head. Dong Qian returned to his room and couldn't help but start smashing the things in the room. Anything that could be moved and within reach was smashed by Dong Qian. Ning Shu cheered him on. "Brother, it's great. Come on, smash it. When I was alive, I was a poor man. I've never smashed such expensive things. I'm so excited to see it." Dong Qian was very uncomfortable. Was there a problem with his brain, or was there really a ghost? But the problem was that this feeling was too real. He was panting. Staying up late for a while made Dong Qian's physical fitness decline rapidly. Even if Dong Qian was mentally strong, such a drop was very desperate. From being a proud son of heaven, he had now become like this. He only had one wish now, and no matter how much money he had to spend, he just wanted to have a good sleep. His mind was a mess, and his whole person was floating. His brain seemed to have shut down, and it was very difficult to think. Dong Qian sat on the ground and panted. The hair on his forehead was wet with sweat. When his breathing stabilized, he said, "Shin Xiao, let's talk." Ning Shu suddenly said, "Brother, you are really brave. I really like you more and more." Dong Qian ignored such words and asked directly, "What do you want?" "I can give it to you, and I didn't hurt you." Ning Shu said, "It's not that you didn't hurt me, but that you didn't have time to hurt me. If you knew that you wanted to hurt me, I would have killed myself first. Am I wise or not?" Dong Qian's heart was pounding, but he still said, "What do you want?" Ning Shu smiled. "Brother, I want it. Although I know it will hurt me, I just like it. I want to follow you. When I was alive, it was impossible for me to follow you. But now we have no obstacles. This guy is really interesting. He can withstand the devastation. I can play with him more. Doesn't this guy like to play with others? Now that he is being played by others, how does he feel in his heart?" Dong Qian. This guy might really be a lunatic. The person involved was very regretful now. If she had known, she wouldn't have accepted this case. Instead, she had lost herself. And it didn't make sense at all. When she talked to him about love. When he talked to her about love, she suddenly died. Don't even mention how crazy she is. Soon, the police were interrogating Dong Qian. Dong Qian was surrounded by many lawyers. Dong Qian would definitely not admit that he killed someone. His excuse was that he didn't know how she died. Moreover, finding the cause of death wasn't something that the police would do. Then, come and prove that I am guilty. It was probably because of Ning Shu's torture that Dong Qian felt that these police officers were rather gentle. Their methods were very gentle, and they couldn't shake his heart at all. Ning Shu even said in his ear, "I can prove that you didn't kill me, but no one listens to me." Dong Qian ignored the words in his ear. He could tell that other than beeping, she basically didn't have any effect. She also made him unable to sleep. This was very fatal, but there was no other way. Anyway, Dong Qian didn't have any other way. The police officer said directly, "You set up the chat group single-handedly. You are hiding filth inside." Chapter 41-28. Spreading diseases, scams, and engaging in lewd things. Let the anti-pornography team do this. There is no problem at all. Dong Qian narrowed his eyes. He was still betrayed. He knew that the loser couldn't take it. Dong Qian said indifferently, "I just created a chat group. As for who is in the chat group, this is not something I can control. Can you police guarantee that everyone is a good person? I was negligent in my supervision. I originally wanted to find some like-minded friends, but these people are all like this." Dong Qian pushed the responsibility away. What kind of responsibility is a lack of supervision? If there is a lack of supervision, then isn't the chat platform more responsible? Sophistry. Ning Shu said in his ear, "Brother, you really know how to talk. I really like it." Dong Qian's facial muscles twitched twice at a speed visible to the naked eye, but he quickly returned to calmness. "Dong Qian, if you don't find evidence of me killing someone, then I will leave. Wait until you find evidence." Dong Qian was facing internal and external troubles, but he remained unmoved because he really didn't kill anyone. If he didn't kill anyone, then he didn't kill anyone. As for the chat group, it was no big deal. Compared to killing someone, it was completely trivial. The police couldn't find any evidence, and there were many doubts about the body. Now the forensic doctors were confused. The body was really strange. It decayed too quickly, and many wounds were caused after death. This meant that Dong Qian abused the corpse. Perhaps this could be a breakthrough. The policeman said, "There are many wounds on the body that were caused after death. She was in your villa. You knew that she was dead, but you still abused her." Dong Qian snorted with an incredible expression. "The last time I saw her was the time in the video. Since then, I have never returned to the villa. I admit that I did it because she grabbed onto me and refused to let go. According to what you said, she died at that time?" When Dong Qian said this, his face suddenly stiffened. Maybe, But she was really dead because there was a stench on her body. It was the smell of decay. Dong Qian's heart was cracking. It was the sound of his worldview shattering. What was this situation? She was already dead. Why could she still move and talk? The police naturally observed his expression. We suspect Shin Xiaodia's purpose of approaching you. Dong Qian? Purpose? Was it not because of love? And did he approach Shin Xiaodai first? What the hell was going on? Dong Qian felt that this matter was very mysterious. It was so magical that his brain was already in a mess. The policeman went on to say, we found that Shin Xiaodai had reported your chat group. She approached you because she wanted to find more evidence. For this reason, you killed her. Even if he didn't have a motive, he had to come up with one. Dong Qian? This development was getting more and more confusing. Dong Qian, I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, if you have evidence, then arrest me. If you don't, then shut up. I didn't kill anyone. No matter how many times you ask me, I will only say that I didn't kill anyone. The police officers were speechless. You're really arrogant. This matter was really confusing. With Dong Qian's social status, coupled with the fact that this matter was also fermenting on the internet, there was no reasonable solution. It was like roasting a person on a fire. Dong Qian was also not stingy. In short, the work of the police was quite difficult. There was still no result, and Dong Qian was released. He sat in the car tiredly, talking to himself. In fact, he was asking someone, did you die before? The driver looked at the rearview mirror and couldn't help but show a surprised expression. Dong Qian was crazy. Ning Shu giggled. That's right. I died before. I committed suicide. I don't know why, but I can still move. I can still smile. I'm still living like a living person. Dong Qian, you must be joking. Dong Qian's face was very ugly. It was particularly incredible and particularly disgusting. In other words, he had been in love with a corpse. He looked at his hands. These hands were holding a corpse. It was too disgusting. Dong Qian vomited directly into the car. Suddenly, the car was filled with a sour smell. Driver, what's wrong with you? After talking to yourself, you vomited. What kind of confusing operation is this? Ning Shu looked at Dong Qian's disgusted expression and continued to giggle. Her barbell-like laughter echoed in his ears for many years, hitting his ears again and again. Dong Qian looked for a moment. The driver didn't feel any pain. Once again, he was sure that only he could hear this voice. It was too fucking painful. Crazy, crazy. Dong Qian's face was hideous. The driver was so frightened that he almost stepped on the brakes. Was the chairman's son sick? Ning Shu said again, why are you so disgusted now? You used to call her sister. Little sister, little sweetheart, you forgot. Dong Qian was helpless. What do I have to do for you to let me go? Ning Shu seemed to reach out and touch Dong Qian's face. Because Dong Qian's face was covered in goosebumps, he shivered. Why do you want to let you go? I want to be with you. Why do you want to let me go when we are together? Brother, don't you think this is good? We can be together forever. We don't have to care about what others think. Dong Qian. Oh, what was good? That was just her thought. Right now, he just wanted to kill her. It would be best if he could destroy her soul so that she would never be reincarnated. After vomiting, Dong Qian's face turned even uglier. It was waxen yellow. The driver was frightened. He asked, do you want to go to the hospital? Dong Qian was hungry too. He nodded. He wanted to go to the hospital for an 4 drip. He couldn't eat now. He couldn't eat or sleep. He would be dragged to death sooner or later. No one in this world would save him. Even if he said it, no one would believe him. They would only think that he was sick. The scariest thing in this world was that everyone was drunk and he was the only one who was sober. Dong Qian had nothing to lose. What do I have to do for you to let me go? Will you only let me go if I die? Ning Shu immediately became happy. Do you really want to die? If you die, then we can be together for a long time. Dong Qian was so angry that he laughed. As he laughed, he wiped his tears. Driver. Indeed, there was something wrong with his brain. One moment he wanted to die, The next moment he wanted to let him go. He must have done something evil. He must have killed that little girl. What a sin. Ning Shu felt that there was no point in torturing one person, so he went to look for Zhang Qi. Chapter 41-29. Zhang Qi and Dong Qian also had the same girlfriend. They were fated to be together, so they couldn't just find one person. Brothers in distress, they should share blessings and hardships together. To be honest, she missed Zhang Qi a little. Did he pay back the money? At least give Dong Qian some time to rest. Otherwise, he might not be able to play for long. If you guys like to play, I'll play games with you guys. Ning Shu leaned into Zhang Qi's ear and said, Zhang Qi, I miss you. Do you miss me? Zhang Qi, who was sleeping, had a particularly big reaction. He jumped out of bed directly, and then looked confused. What happened? He seemed to have heard Xin Xiaoya's voice. Could it be that Xin Xiaoya's ghost came back to find him? Zhang Qi was so scared that his face turned white. He was scaring himself. After trembling for a while, he didn't hear any movement. Zhang Qi went back to sleep, looked at the dark sky outside the window, and sighed. If he could choose, he wanted to be a new person and never go to any chat group again. That chat group had been banned and disappeared. Alas, he also had a part to play in this. Zhang Qi thought about all kinds of things in his mind and fell asleep in a daze. Just as he fell asleep, a voice sounded in his ear again. Zhang Qi, I'm back to see you. Wake up. Then he seemed to have been slapped. It didn't hurt very much, but he felt extremely cold. He suddenly woke up again, and this time the words in his ear were clearer. Zhang Qi. Zhang Qi's teeth were chattering as he struggled to speak. Xin Xiao. He rolled his eyes and was about to faint. Zhang Qi was much more cowardly than Dong Qian. They both did bad things, but some people were very strong, and some people were very cowardly. However, it was also understandable. After all, Dong Qian had a strong family since childhood, which gave him confidence. Zhang Qi could not. Ning Shu said with some disgust, Don't faint. I'm back to see you. Dear, are you happy? Zhang Qi trembled and wanted to speak, but Ning Shu said directly, Don't say that you're not happy. Zhang Qi. I'm happy. Ning Shu said with relief, It's good that you're happy. I'm also very happy. Have you paid back the money? Zhang Qi. Even as a ghost, he would never forget about money. He stuttered, Can you give me some more time? I'll burn it for you. Ning Shu smiled. Of course you can. Zhang Qi, why don't you come and accompany me? I like you so much that I even committed suicide for you. Don't you feel anything? Zhang Qi was very scared. He did not feel anything. If he went to accompany her, it would mean that he was going to die. Zhang Qi immediately knelt down and kowtowed. Xin Xiaodai, please, let me go. I will be a good person in the future and will never lie to girls again. I'll marry a wife and live a good life. Ning Shu said faintly, he actually wants to marry a wife and live a good life with her? Even after such a thing had happened, the man still thought that the matter was over and acted as if nothing had happened. Zhang Qi immediately kowtowed and said, Then I won't marry a wife, I won't marry. Ning Shu sighed. You still have a wife. Don't you already have me? Yes, I will immediately make a memorial tablet for you and burn 3 sticks of incense every day so that you can eat the incense of my Zhang family. Ning Shu. I'm really disgusted. Is the incense of the Zhang family that great? Ning Shu did not speak anymore. Zhang Qi had been kneeling on the ground, and his knees were in great pain. He tried to stand up and slowly moved to the bed. He closed his eyes and did not hear any sound. He suddenly breathed a sigh of relief and closed his eyes to sleep. Ning Shu immediately pierced Zhang Qi's brain with his spiritual force. Zhang Qi immediately jumped up in pain and covered his head. Xin Xiaodai, please let me go. I will burn paper money for you. I will give you whatever you want. Zhang Qi cried bitterly. Ning Shu, don't you feel anything in your heart? Why are you hurting me like this? Zhang Qi just kept begging for mercy. Whatever Ning Shu said was the truth. A person like Zhang Qi was stronger than him. Whatever he said was the truth. He had no backbone. Was he really admitting his mistake? No, If Zhang Qi had a lot of power now, it would be impossible for him to admit his mistake. How can such a person have any conscience? How can he feel guilty? Therefore, no matter what you do to such a person, you don't have to be kind. Ning Shu directly stirred his brain with his spiritual force. Zhang Qi rolled on the ground in pain, holding his head and desperately begging for mercy. The blue veins on his forehead were bulging. Just when Zhang Qi felt that he was going to die, the pain suddenly lessened, and he had a feeling of escaping death. At this moment, he strangely felt a trace of gratitude to her. But when he thought that this woman would always be pestering him, Zhang Qi's heart was desperate. Zhang Qi said sincerely, "I was wrong, I was really wrong. I shouldn't have deceived you. I shouldn't have deceived you." Ning Shu's heart was unmoved by his apology. The person who was deceived by him was already dead. If he didn't encounter such a thing, how could Zhang Qi apologize, repent? Therefore, people have to have a sharp edge. Kindness without a sharp edge is just a weakness that everyone can bully. Ning Shu and Zhang Qi were late for the night and returned to Zhang Qi's side during the day. He felt that he was really busy, very busy, and did not rest during the day and night. If he wanted to pin the murder on Dong Qian, the chain of evidence would not be enough. The law might not be able to punish Dong Qian and Zhang Qi very severely, so Ning Shu could only do it himself. But in reality, everyone was an ordinary person. It was really too difficult to recognize such a man. Ning Shu lay next to Dong Qian. The mattress was a little sunken, and he moved a little. Dong Qian woke up from the movement. It was the first time he had slept since the incident happened. Dong Qian was so moved that he cried loudly in his heart. Ning Shu was next to Dong Qian, and he asked, "Little brother, did you sleep well?" Dong Qian. If this thing didn't exist, then he would be even more touched and the world would be even more beautiful. Dong Qian was a little confused. Why did this thing let him go last night? Ning Shu sighed faintly, "Little brother, you have to take care of your body. If you don't sleep like this, you will suddenly die." He said sarcastically, "Isn't that what you want?" Ning Shu quickly shook his head in denial, "No, that's not what I want." Dong Qian actually felt a strange sense of relief in his heart. Who knew where this feeling came from? He even felt a little touched. Ning Shu continued, "I hope to live for a long, long time." He was in pain for a long, long time. Dong Qian was silent. He sighed and prepared himself mentally for a long battle to come. This woman would not let him go. Chapter 41-31. In order to get a moment of peace, he needed someone to attract her attention so that she wouldn't have time to care about him. Simply put, he wanted her to have something to do and keep her busy. Dong Qian showed a hideous smile. He hadn't smiled for a long time. When he suddenly smiled, it looked stiff and ugly. Ning Shu exclaimed, "Little brother, your smile is so ugly. What's wrong with you? Why aren't you as good-looking as before? Little brother, if you continue to be so ugly, you'll hurt my eyes. Little brother, what do you think the consequences will be?" Dong Qian, "Damn it, it's really too difficult. You don't let me rest, bully me every day, make me worry, and make me maintain my beauty. Even a god can't do that. You're too unreasonable." Dong Qian rationally told himself that he had to change the topic now. He said, "Xin Shaodai, do you particularly hate such people? Let me tell you, there are many such evil people in society." Ning Shu, "Oh." His voice was bored. Dong Qian continued to persuade, "I know a lot of things." Ning Shu, "And then?" She didn't seem very interested. Dong Qian thought that she was a warm-hearted, nosy person who couldn't stand the injustice in the world. Now, looking at her attitude, he was a little uncertain. But in order to live a peaceful life, he had to sacrifice others. If someone blew cold wind in his ear every day, he would go deaf sooner or later. Ning Shu held his chin and looked at Dong Qian. He asked with some doubt, "Why are you so bad?" Dong Qian, "Ning Shu, logically speaking, you were born into a rich family and lived a life of wealth. If you don't have good karma, you have good luck. Why are you so bad?" Dong Qian, "Oh, are we going to talk about the past life?" Ning Shu, "But your mind is quite firm. I want to turn you into a skeleton. Dong Qian? What the fuck are you talking about? Ning Shu continued, since you don't want to be a human, then become a skeleton. Dong Qian laughed in his heart. Speaking of not being a human, this guy was the real one. Of all the things she had done, which one of them was done by humans? Dong Qian didn't know the deeper meaning behind Ning Shu's words. He only took it as a threat. After all, she wanted him dead. She was just teasing him now. Sooner or later he would be killed by her, but he had to fight for a chance to live. Dong Qian's heart was filled with despair. He didn't know if he could survive. However, after so many people had died in the world, she was the only one who had become like this. She acted recklessly and played with others as if she was playing with mortals. Dong Qian had a strange feeling in his heart. He asked tentatively, Shen Xiaodai, how did you become like this? Ning Shu smiled and said, if you want to know why I became like this, you can kill yourself once. Do you want to try? Dong Qian was frantically rejecting her in his heart. Try my ass. If I try, I'll die. She wants me to die. She wants me to die. Ning Shu sounded a little disappointed. Don't you want to give it a try? Maybe you'll become a transcendent existence like me. Ning Shu wanted to see Dong Qian's reaction. Would he really die, whether it was because of the temptation of power or because he wanted to beg her? Standing from another point of view, Ning Shu suddenly understood the problem that she didn't understand very well before. That was, why some of the bad people she had encountered before were taken in by the organization. She used to think that their minds were strong and capable, but they were bad to a certain extent. Now it seemed that absorbing them was, to some extent, a kind of punishment. The power of longevity was used as bait to make them do things. If they did something wrong, they would be directly obliterated, using bad people to deal with bad people. Thinking about it, what was the difference between this and a reform through labor? Doing things had the meaning of atonement, but this group of prisoners was somewhat special. They had more extraordinary power than ordinary people, but they were restrained. Garbage was not garbage if it was placed in the right place. This was a matter of killing several birds with one stone. The organization had the power to control these people. Of course, not all of those who were absorbed were in this situation. Just like now, when Ning Shu looked at Dong Qian, in her eyes, Dong Qian had become a skeleton. She stroked Dong Qian's bones. You must be a beautiful skeleton. Dong Qian felt goosebumps all over his body. Gusts of cold wind, a cold touch drifted on his skin, and coupled with her lamenting, Dong Qian felt that this was the worst evil in the world. She was a pervert, a lunatic. Dong Qian felt that he couldn't take it anymore. And for some reason, Dong Qian suddenly had a feeling that he might not be able to get rid of this lunatic even if he died. Although this was nonsense, Dong Qian had this feeling in his heart. This was the most despairing thing. He was being toyed with while he was alive, but wouldn't he be free after he died? He was just fooling around. Why did he have to suffer such retribution? He didn't kill anyone or commit arson, nor did he do anything evil, so why did he have to suffer such a fate? Ning Shu felt that she should observe Dong Qian for a while longer. It would be best to temper his soul again. Although he couldn't see, Dong Qian felt a gaze staring at him. It was as if he was a stone that was about to be carved. This was the most terrifying thing. Ning Shu said, you said that you know a lot of things. What are they? Dong Qian said, I know that some people have special hobbies, and there are special channels to provide them with these hobbies. Ning Shu nodded and said innocently, what hobbies? Dong Qian rolled his eyes in his heart, but for his peaceful life, he decisively betrayed others of the same class. Let this lunatic go and find someone else instead of a dead Taoist. Dong Qian said, some people like children. Ning Shu asked, do you like them too? Dong Qian took a deep breath. No, I like normal women, such as women your age. Ning Shu replied, oh, so you really like women who are older than you. Dong Qian, that what I mean is, I like adult women, not older women. If it weren't for the fact that he couldn't see or touch, Dong Qian would have killed this woman even if it meant going to jail. If he had known that this would happen in the past, he would have beaten this woman to death. I can't fucking take it anymore. If this kind of torture was worse than going to jail. But the problem was that he didn't kill anyone, but admitted to killing someone and went to jail. This was too sullen no. Therefore, Dong Qian refused to admit that he had killed anyone in front of Ning Shu. If he didn't kill anyone, then he didn't kill anyone. This was related to his family. If there was a murderer in the Dong family, the impact on the company would be too great. His rich life was all because of the Dong family. If the Dong family collapsed, his life would only be worse than now. Chapter 41-32. When the nest is overturned, no eggs will remain intact. Dong Qian understood this logic. And only when the Dong family is strong can they protect him. Just look at the legal team, and you know that the legal team costs money. Without enough money, how can it be possible to hire so many lawyers to defend himself? And what he has to do is to bite the bullet that he didn't kill anyone. Even if the Dong family doesn't know what kind of pain Dong Qian is suffering now, Dong Qian is silently enduring it instead of giving up and saying that he killed someone. At that time, the Dong family will be implicated. This is an era of public opinion. If public opinion loses, the consequences are too serious. Dong Qian knows that he must rely on the Dong family. Protecting the Dong family is protecting himself. And Dong Qian also understands that Shen Xiaodai wants him to lose his reputation. Otherwise, she wouldn't have done such a thing. Of all places, why did he have to die in her villa? This kind of thing can't be washed away. Regardless of whether it is clarified or not, when people talk about Dong Qian in the future, it will be that he played a woman to death. An inherent impression has been formed. This deceitful woman. As for the heir, he may only be a rich and idle person in the future. The premise is that he can survive under this woman's torture. What kind of hatred and resentment does she have to set up such a trap? Is it just because he lied to her? What did he lie to her about? Didn't she vainly enjoy the enjoyment of her social class, attend banquets, and eat expensive and delicious food? These things are things that some people can't eat in their lifetime. She enjoys a life of luxury. How did he wrong her? For the sake of the good life he once gave her, she shouldn't torture him like this. Look at his hair, it's almost gone. No, it's not to the point of suicide. No, this woman has already died before. She lived a little longer in the world like a walking corpse. At this time, he met her again. With this woman's character, how can she commit suicide for such a man? At first glance, she is the kind of female devil who loves herself more than anyone else. How can she die for a stupid man? As a normal person, even if they are hurt, they will not easily give up their life. Especially Dong Qian, who enjoys a rich life, can't wait to enjoy it for a long time. Life is something that can't be bought with money. Stupid, of course, he could only think about it in his heart. If he said it out loud, his brain would probably burst out of his head. Dong Qian said to Ning Shu expressionlessly, "If you like doing these things, you can do them. I believe that the world will become more beautiful because of you." At this time, Dong Qian displayed his glib tongue and instigated Ning Shu to go out and exert his energy. As long as she didn't vent her energy on him, it would be fine. She could torment anyone as long as she didn't torment him. Ning Shu grunted, "Actually, I'm not someone who abhors evil, but if it's what you said, I'm still willing to do it." If it weren't for all the things that had happened before, Dong Qian would have been moved to tears by her obedience. "I must have been possessed by a demon to believe you." Dong Qian felt the cold air around him and knew that she hadn't left yet. His pores contracted into goosebumps because of this cold air. He was becoming more and more sensitive to her existence, and the sense of danger that lingered in his heart was endless. Dong Qian said, "Then why aren't you going?" Ning Shu grunted, "I've done so many things before, so I'm a little tired. I need to rest for a period of time." Dong Qian almost cursed it out loud. "Tired my ass, what's there to be tired about?" Dong Qian held it in, and with a puzzled face he asked, "You also feel tired?" Ning Shu said as if it was a matter of course, "I'm human, of course I feel tired." Dong Qian was speechless. "If you can feel tired, then you won't let people stay up all night. You're simply a beast." Dong Qian only dared to roar in his heart, but he could never say it out loud. Once he said it out loud, he would be in trouble. And Dong Qian realized that if he insisted on having a hostile attitude, it would only make him more unlucky. No matter what, this woman would not let him go, so why not please her, so that he could have a better time? Dong Qian was expressionless, and it was not obvious that he was trying to please her. Oh, you're tired. Then should I prepare a room for you? Ning Shu laughed out loud. Thank you, little brother. There's no need to prepare a room, I'll sleep beside you. Dong Qian was furious, but he did not dare to refute or refuse. Ning Shu tortured Dong Qian as usual. He would stay up for a few days and then let him sleep. He would do this repeatedly, like a hawk, to see who could endure it more. In any case, Ning Shu did not care. She could stay up all night, but Dong Qian's body was made of flesh and blood. Ning Shu sighed, little brother, you can't rely on your ugliness to stay up all night recklessly. Dong Qian's dark face twisted, and Ning Shu clicked his tongue. You're even uglier now, you're really? Under Ning Shu's torment, Dong Qian became ugly. His face was gray and yellow, and his teeth were also yellow. His breath was stinky and his hair was falling out. His hairline was shrinking at a rapid speed, almost reaching the hairline of Dong Qian's father. Because he stayed up all night, his brain was damaged, and he looked as cold and emotionless as a zombie. Dong Qian's parents were very disappointed. Seeing their son like this, they expected better from him. The murder case had not been decided yet, but he ended up in this state. What was he trying to do? If the outside world saw this, they would definitely guess that Dong Qian had a guilty conscience, or that he was taking drugs. Dong Qian's parents were shocked, fearing that their son had become a drug addict. Did you touch something you shouldn't have? If that was the case, then they would completely give up on their son. No matter how powerful the Dong family was, they could not withstand a money shredder. Of course, Dong Qian knew what they were talking about. He swore, I didn't touch anything I shouldn't have, don't worry. Don't worry, how can we not worry when you look like this? Dong Qian's father could not help but scold. Then why did you make yourself look like this? Do you really have a guilty conscience? It was really mentally and physically exhausting, and he really wanted to kill him. How about sending him to the hospital? It was uncomfortable to watch. Dong Qian was silent in the face of his family's disappointment and harshness. He could not explain. If he did, his family would send him to the mental hospital. Therefore, Dong Qian simply did not say anything, and faced all the problems with silence. He felt that if he did not explode in silence, he would become a pervert in silence. Oh, a pervert, oh, there was one beside him. Chapter 41-33. Ning Shu also went to do some things in the process, such as the special institutions that Dong Qian mentioned. Some of them were like orphanages. These orphans had no one to rely on in the world. They relied on social welfare or donations from people with intentions to survive. They could only rely on welfare institutions. But some welfare institutions were not filled with love, a place filled with love. On the contrary, they were places where people could not bear to look at. Ning Shu relied on the fact that he did not have a body to come and go as he pleased. Moreover, when he was doing something, he was caught red-handed, saying that there were people selling drugs. Then he was sitting at the side eating melon seeds and watching the police officers barge in. That scene was really interesting. There was no lack of people who were rich and had social status. To be caught in such a situation was simply. Moreover, Ning Shu even caused trouble on the internet and stepped on some people's faces to the ground. There was nothing in this world that was not enough, but there were too many people. There were too many people. Even if there was a lot of surveillance, it was impossible to monitor every corner of society. Even the sun could not. There were many onlookers on the internet. Something like this would definitely cause a huge uproar. It was still the same saying. If there was no business, there would be no killing. Because there was a need, there were places where people hid their dirty deeds. The chain of benefits was complete. And those welfare institutions were also dug up. It was shocking. Ning Shu crossed his legs and looked at all kinds of things on the internet. Many things would become very similar after being fermented on the internet. The internet was a double-edged sword. It depended on how it was used. Moreover, Ning Shu had even uploaded the video. Of course, the short video spread faster than the short video. There were images, sounds, and content. Dong Qian looked at the things on the internet and sighed. Indeed, when she caused trouble, she caused a huge uproar. She did whatever she wanted and did not care about the consequences. However, Dong Qian revealed a twisted smile. Thanks to these people, he rested for a while and could finally sleep soundly. Only when she was not by his side could he have a little time to breathe. Only then did he feel less suffocated. Many people were caught and even caused trouble on the internet. It was a complete loss of face. Dong Qian licked his teeth and revealed a gratified smile. Previously, his matters had always been dragged out by the netizens and keyboard warriors to attack him. Now that they had finally diverted their attention, the Dong family would no longer be roasted on the fire. These netizens were very forgetful. When something new happened or a new melon appeared in front of them, the previous melon would be thrown away. Is this considered doing something for the Dong family? Dong Qian happily closed his laptop. His heart was filled with happiness. After being entangled by that woman, he rarely felt happy. As expected, pain had to be built on someone else's body. If it was built on his body, it would be twice the pain. After a few people successively fell, those who had ulterior motives all clamped their butts together and behaved themselves. They felt that there was a kind of power staring at them from the unseen world. Previously, they had mocked the Dong family for being useless because they had raised such a son, who didn't have any special hobbies in private. But now they had played so big that they had killed someone. She had been gloating a lot, but now that it had happened to her, or perhaps it was about to happen to her, she felt a little uncomfortable. Ever since Dong Qian's accident, Dong Qian's father's face had always been cold. However, the recent events had made him very happy. It was uncomfortable for one person to have shit on their butts, but it was much better for a group of people to have shit on their butts. No one would stare at the Dong family. When Dong Qian saw his father's expression, he also smiled. However, his smile was twisted, and his entire person exuded a gloomy aura. Dong Qian's father, damn it, it was still very annoying. Dong Qian, is it easy for me? Forget it, I'll hide my fame and fortune. After playing outside for a while, Ning Shu felt that it was boring. These people had all become vigilant. They all began to act like gentlemen and good citizens. She couldn't do anything to them. Seriously, the bored Ning Shu could only return to Dong Qian's side. To be honest, Dong Qian was more interesting. Zhang Qi had been played by her until he was broken. Zhang Qi didn't dare to stay in this city at all. He returned to his hometown dejectedly. When he returned to his hometown, Ning Shu naturally couldn't be bothered to follow him. Zhang Qi found that as long as he was not in the city, that woman would not follow him to torture him. Then he would live in his hometown. Zhang Qi wanted to resume his old job, but when he thought of Shen Xiaodai, he was terrified. Forget it, find a woman from the countryside. After all, he was a man who came back from a big city. Occasionally he would hear Shen Xiaodia's voice at night. Zhang Qi's heart was desperate, very desperate. Was he going to be a bachelor for the rest of his life? Shen Xiaodai, this vicious woman. When Ning Shu approached Dong Qian immediately felt it. His heart sank. Why did he come back? Ning Shu touched Dong Qian's small face. Brother, why are you so ugly? Dong Qian was expressionless. He had to adapt to this kind of personal attack as much as possible. It was best to turn a blind eye to it. Ning Shu sighed again. Brother, you are very dishonest. You schemed against me. Dong Qian retorted, Sister, I didn't. Ning Shu said, You did. Find something for me to do and get rid of me. I've caused trouble and diverted the Dong family's attention. Tell me, are you going to be honest or not? Ning Shu poked his forehead with her finger. Dong Qian could feel a cold touch between his eyebrows. Little by little, his soul could be frozen. Dong Qian was still denying it. I didn't, sister. I thought you were very happy. I was doing something to make you happy. Ning Shu snorted twice. Cunning, smooth talker. However, for the sake of making me happy, I will not punish you. Ning Shu sat on the sofa. Dong Qian clearly saw a dent in the sofa. He looked away and was too lazy to look. Ning Shu patted the sofa next to her. Sit down. Sister has something to say to you. Dong Qian was exuding resistance. I don't want to sit with you. Ning Shu nodded with a questioning tone. Dong Qian could only slowly move over and sit next to the dent. He asked, "Shin Xiaodai, what's the matter?" Ning Shu put his hand on his shoulder. Under his hand was his bones. Ning Shu said lovingly, "You should eat more. Look at how thin you are." Dong Qian was creeped out and did not make a sound. In the face of sudden concern, Dong Qian's heart only had. He was most afraid of sudden concern. And why did it become like this? It was all because of you. The main culprit was still acting hypocritical. Chapter 41-34. Ning Shu stirred up trouble in the world, and in the end, there was nothing to do. Many people had their tails between their legs. If they didn't act, Ning Shu couldn't catch them on the spot. Because of this situation, the social atmosphere was a little better. For example, some old big cases were turned over, and some absconding criminals were caught. It felt like the world was turning upside down. Dong Qian felt that if the female devil went out to cause trouble every day, then his life would be much better. But she was a Gu family person. She always ran to the house and begged him not to come back. Could he just work hard outside? Dong Qian felt that he was now a wife who was being abused, powerless, and unable to resist. He was afraid to see his husband and hoped that his husband would die outside forever. Dong Qian felt extremely tired as he still had to deal with her in a hypocritical manner. Ning Shu went home and said to Dong Qian, "It's really too weak. There is no one who can fight." Sigh. Dong Qian rolled his eyes. This kind of person was simply crazy. He was even crazier than the rich and heartless people like them. He killed people without blinking. When dealing with people, he did not hesitate and had no soft-hearted. This kind of person was more terrible. Dong Qian forced himself not to think about it, but his brain didn't seem to be his own. All kinds of messy information were running through his mind. The more he thought about it, the more his head hurt. Even his heart began to hurt. Dong Qian knew that there was something wrong with his body, but he didn't dare to check it out. Anyway, his whole person was not good. Dong Qian endured the tightness in his heart. Ning Shu asked, "You don't look like Shin Xiaodai. You are not Shin Xiaodai." Shin Xiaodai was so shallow that she committed suicide for a man like Zhang Qi. It could be seen that she was a woman who fell into the chaos of love. Her mind was not clear. What kind of man was Zhang Qi? Now this person was a female devil. Even if she mutated, it was impossible to become like this. Ning Shu sighed and said with relief, "You finally found out. I thought you could only find out after you died." Without a body, Ning Shu was already very free. She could do whatever she wanted, and there was no need for her to disguise herself. After all, no one could hit her. Dong Qian felt that his heart was more painful and tighter. His heart seemed to be tightly gripped by a pair of hands, making it difficult for him to breathe. He covered his heart and said in a particularly aggrieved tone, "Since you are not Shin Xiaodai, why are you doing this to me?" Every injustice has its perpetrator and every debt has its debtor. He had admitted to what he had done to Shin Xiaodai. How could another person do this to him? He felt so wrong that he was about to cry. Ning Shu asked, "Why can't I do this to you? Just like what you did to Shin Xiaodai. Why do you feel wronged when I do this?" Dong Qian. Fuck you, there's no way to communicate at all. Dong Qian gave up on communicating with him. He decided to fight for a chance of survival. Now that I've received my punishment, shouldn't I atone for my sins? Ning Shu said vaguely, "Maybe, but little brother, I quite like you. I don't want you to like me." Dong Qian's face was ferocious, and his breathing was rapid. He was in pain. "Then what will it take for you to let me go?" Ning Shu sighed faintly. "Death is not the end. When you die, you will see a new world." No. Dong Qian's heart was extremely resistant. He didn't want to see any new world. This meant that even if he died, he wouldn't be able to get rid of it. Ning Shu, "Young man, do you long for power?" Dong Qian. Ning Shu, "Young man, do you long for longevity?" Dong Qian. Ning Shu, "Young man, do you long for a new world?" Dong Qian was so angry that he laughed. He felt like he was in a pyramid scheme, but the problem was that in this case, he couldn't refuse. Dong Qian couldn't wait to go back to the past. He must not accept this order, let alone go in front of Shin Shaodai. Not to mention in front of her, even staying in the same city was unsafe, but there were no ifs, and he couldn't go back to the past. So desperate, Dong Qian clutched his chest. His heart was beating very fast, as if it was going to jump out of his mouth. Dong Qian was flustered. His eyes were full of stars, followed by darkness. Damn, I don't want to die. I don't want to see any new world. Dong Qian had realized that death was the most desperate thing, but his body was no longer under the control of his will. His body was already very weak. Under Ning Shu's torture, he didn't do anything like whipping and torture. He just made him stay up late. It could be seen how destructive staying up late was. Dong Qian fainted in his room and was only discovered 2 days later. Since the accident, Dong Qian loved to stay in his room and didn't come out at all. The next morning, Dong Qian's father suddenly thought of Dong Qian and suddenly became angry. He only knows how to stay in the house all day. Look at what he has become. The housekeeper at home immediately called Dong Qian. After calling for a while, there was no response. She opened the door with the key. Dong Qian was lying on the ground, his body stiff. Dong Qian's father was stunned. He couldn't react to the fact that his son was gone just like that. He always felt that his son should be a scourge that lived for 1,000 years, but he died just like that. He was sad to see his son die before him. He was very regretful. If he had known, he would have educated his son well and not let him go down the wrong path. Now, he was gone at such a young age. They checked Dong Qian's body. The cause of death was myocarditis. Dong Qian's body was already very weak. This damn child. How could he ruin his own child like that? However, the dead couldn't be brought back to life. The living had to continue living. But just before the cremation, Dong Qian's body disappeared from the funeral parlor. The Dong family was stunned. The body was gone. There were even people who stole the body. Without the body and ashes, how were they going to bury it? Were they going to build a cenotaph like in ancient times? The police were more inclined to believe that Dong Qian's body was stolen for a marriage. Marriage, my ass. What kind of time was this? How could there be such superstitions? Where was the body? Dong Qian was raised by the Dong family with money and care. Now, his body was stolen for a marriage. It was too infuriating, too ridiculous. How dare they steal from the Dong family? According to the degree of superstition of those people, they shouldn't have thought that if they wanted to eat Dong Qian's incense, the Dong family would be rich. Ning Shu left this world and left with Dong Qian's body. As for the original owner, Shin Shaodai, she didn't care and didn't have to care at all. The dead soul entered the world of reincarnation. As for whether it became a pig or a dog in the next life, it had nothing to do with her. Life was given up by herself. No matter what happened, living well and taking care of oneself were more important than anything else. Chapter 41-35. Ning Shu's consciousness returned to her side. There was a corpse by the bed. She carried the corpse out of the room and threw it in the yard. Earthworm came out of the house and looked at the corpse without any surprise. He asked, "Did you eat a human today?" Ning Shu shook her head. "It's not fresh. It's definitely not delicious." It had been displayed at home for more than a day and at the funeral parlor for a few days. How fresh could the meat be? No, when did human meat become their diet? Ning Shu released Dong Qian's soul. Dong Qian's soul looked much better than his body. Dong Qian's soul was quite strong. He opened his eyes and looked very confused. It was as if he had slept for a long time and had suddenly woken up. He didn't know what year it was. He subconsciously looked around and found that this was a very desolate place. Even the houses were very simple. What kind of ground was this? Dong Qian didn't feel any difficulty breathing. He was still wondering when his body had become so good. He looked down and saw a dusty corpse lying on the ground. Why does this corpse look so familiar? Oh, this is my own body. This is my own body? Dong Qian was stunned. Was he really dead? Did a dead person really have a soul? He hurriedly looked at the people beside him. There was a chubby little girl and a handsome man wearing a long robe that only the ancients would wear. What the hell was this place? Dong Qian was confused and helpless. Did he really come to a new world? Did that mean he was free of that terrifying demoness? He seemed to have become that little puppy again. Ning Shu asked gently, "Little girl, what is this place?" Ning Shu glanced at him. "Are you stupid? You're dead." Dong Qian. "Of course I know I brought the dog, but what I'm asking is, what is this place?" Ning Shu said to Dong Qian, "Earthworm, help me deal with this corpse. Shave off the excess meat. Don't hurt the bones or leave any traces." Earthworm, "Then make a big steamer and steam the meat." "It won't hurt the bones," Earthworm said calmly. Dong Qian, that his soul was on the verge of collapse. What were they talking about? Why couldn't he understand? But he felt that it was a very terrifying thing. Was he going to cook his body? To be honest, when Dong Qian saw his body, he was very happy. Although his body was useless, he still wanted to live, didn't he? Especially when he knew that he still had a soul. Would he be able to live if he returned to his body? But now, he heard that his body was going to be steamed, and his bones and flesh were going to be separated. What kind of bullshit was this? Dong Qian was so scared that his soul was trembling. He couldn't help but ask in a trembling voice, "What are you going to do to my body?" Even though we're not related to each other, we don't have any grudges against each other either. How could you treat his corpse like this? Although they might not feel the pain, just hearing it was enough to make them feel the pain. Ning Shu looked at him as if he was looking at an idiot. If you don't use a simple method, do you want to use a razor to shave it bit by bit? That way, you can easily hurt the bones. You might even leave marks on the bones. That would not be perfect. Using a knife to shave it bit by bit sounded even more painful. Dong Qian asked blankly, "Why? Why do you want to dispose of the corpse?" Ning Shu said to Dong Qian, "I said it before. You will definitely be a beautiful skeleton." Dong Qian was stunned. He looked at the chubby Ning Shu. You are Shen Xiaodai?" Ning Shu frowned. "You just reacted. I have made skeletons before. Those skeletons didn't have their own bodies. I could only find other skeletons. I thought that my own body would be more compatible, and the success rate would be higher." Dong Qian trembled. His whole person was like a little white flower destroyed by a storm. "Do you really want to turn me into a skeleton?" He didn't even have time to be curious about what was going on with this chubby girl before he was about to face a bleak life. Ning Shu said with a face full of righteousness, "I never lie. I said before that you would be a beautiful skeleton. Zhu Jun and the others used other people's bodies, and you used your own body. The compatibility should be higher, and it might even be more perfect. The process should not be so painful." Dong Qian trembled more and more. The amount of information was too much. In one sentence, he was going to be finished. What was even more terrible was that it would be very painful. Earthworm sighed. He still had to get a big steamer to steam people. Ning Shu saw that Dong Qian was trembling so badly, so he comforted him. "Only during the fusion will it be very painful. After that, you will reach the peak of life. Although you can't marry a beautiful woman, you can live for a long time." Dong Qian was very desperate. What the hell was going on? Why did he have to face such a thing and encounter such a thing? "I don't want it, I refuse." Becoming a skeleton, only she could do it. Dong Qian was an ordinary person. Becoming a skeleton was too challenging for his psychological endurance. "Dong Qian, can I not become a skeleton?" Ning Shu shook his head. "No." Dong Qian was in despair. "But Ning Shu, no reason. You don't want to be a human. You don't want to be a human. Didn't I ask you to be a human before?" "Dong Qian?" He immediately said, "I'm willing to be a human now. Give me a chance. I want to be a good person." Ning Shu tilted his head. "You're dead now. You can't be a human anymore. I'm willing to be reincarnated." Since he had a soul, he could be a human again. Ning Shu suddenly patted Dong Qian's soul. Dong Qian's soul was about to dissipate. Damn, it was like being hit by a hammer. Ning Shu rolled his eyes. "What kind of daydream are you having?" Dong Qian was in despair. What kind of sin did he commit? Even his soul was enslaved. Earthworm couldn't wait any longer. "Okay, don't scare people." Dong Qian almost cried when he heard Earthworm's words. Finally, There was a good person. This person was so handsome. He was like a god. Earthworm said again, "Do you want to stew?" Dong Qian. Ning Shu shook his head. "If you want to stew, you'll need a big pot. It's better to steam it." It was unknown where the Origin King had come from, but when he saw a corpse and a soul, he asked Ning Shu, "Is this the human you found for me?" The Origin King looked at Ning Shu with an expression that said, "You said no, but your body is honest." He asked, "What talent does this person have?" At this time, another person appeared and looked at him with a very picky gaze, asking about his talent. Talent? What kind of talent did a rich second generation need? As long as he knew how to spend money. Chapter 41-36. When Ning Shu saw the Origin King, his first reaction was that this son of a bitch wanted to snatch the person from him. "Who found this person for you? What are you thinking? Are you daydreaming?" The Origin King completely regarded himself as the company's interviewer. He sat down, tidied up his clothes, and asked Dong Qian arrogantly, "What can you do?" Dong Qian? Although he didn't understand the current situation very well, Dong Qian was keenly aware that he seemed to be caught in a war between two big shots. Maybe he could fight for a chance to survive. He knew a lot of things. He knew piano, finance, management, and everything that a rich second generation should learn seriously. He learned them all. Of course, he also knew how to spend money and find fun. Various thoughts flashed through Dong Qian's mind. How could he make this man fall in love with him? But he couldn't guarantee that he would have a better life in this man's hands. Maybe it would be even more miserable than becoming a skeleton. Damn, what kind of terrifying Azura battlefield was this? Dong Qian said, "I know management, finance." The Origin King narrowed his eyes and looked at him, making Dong Qian tremble. The Origin King, "Speak human language." Dong Qian? "Am I not speaking human language?" The Origin King, "I asked you what you can do. Can you repair houses?" Dong Qian was confused for a moment. The Dong family was a real estate company that repaired houses, but the problem was that he didn't know how to repair houses. The Origin King stared at him, and Dong Qian trembled. Just as he was about to speak, Ning Shu raised his foot and stepped on Dong Qian's body. Dong Qian suddenly felt a lot of pain. Even if he couldn't feel it now, he still felt the pain. Ning Shu looked at the Origin King. "What? You want to snatch the person from me?" The Origin King, "What snatch? Why did you bring a human back?" Ning Shu, "Guess." The Origin King snorted, "You said that I enslaved humans before, but now you've brought a human back. Isn't that enslaving humans? You made me think that you were on the side of humans." Dong Qian shrank his soul and tried to reduce his presence. This kind of scene was not something he could intervene in. In the end, these big shots would just treat him like a fart and let him go. He was really flattered. He really couldn't stand these big shots fighting over him. "Please don't fight over me." Earthworm looked at the two of them bickering and asked, "Should we steam it or not?" Ning Shu stomped on the corpse again, causing Dong Qian's face to twitch. "Steam? Why don't we steam? We have to steam." Earthworm walked over, grabbed the clothes, and dragged the corpse away. Dong Qian was scared out of his wits. He rushed in front of the earthworm and almost knelt down. "I beg you, don't cook my corpse. And on my body." Earthworm looked at Dong Qian with clear eyes. Dong Qian was simply drunk. "You're so good-looking, yet you're grabbing a corpse and wanting to cook it. Do you know how perverted you are, brother?" The earthworm said, "Your corpse, no, your body is already smelly. You can't go back. Give up." Some things are irreversible. Although Dong Qian knew this in his heart, he still harbored a bit of hope in his heart. Moreover, although these people lived in desolate places, they seemed to be different from ordinary people. What kind of extraordinary power could allow him to return to his body? Live or want to live? Now that he heard the other party say this, the disappointment in his heart could be imagined. Dong Qian had always looked very gentle. Although he said such shocking words with a calm expression, Dong Qian felt that he was unfathomable. He asked Earthworm, "Can't you do it?" Earthworm, "Why should I do that? You're already dead. Why should I bring you back to life?" Dong Qian, "I'm actually speechless. Ning Shu and the Origin King were still arguing. The Origin King felt very wronged, so much so that his voice became much louder. You didn't allow me to find humans, but you actually found humans yourself. We're the same, why don't you allow it? I'm happy to keep a pet by my side. Then I'm also happy to give humans a chance to shine. I'll let them work for me and give them what they want. The Origin King snorted, stretched out his hand, and directly grabbed Dong Qian's soul. He pulled him in front of him and asked, "Do you want to be a pet or fight for your career?" Dong Qian. He cursed in his heart. What does this have to do with me? Being forced to join the battlefield, Dong Qian felt bitter in his heart. It's too difficult for me. Ning Shu stared at Dong Qian with his almond eyes as if saying, "Be careful what you say, you know the consequences." Dong Qian trembled and said, "I don't know. Everyone's heart is different. Some people like pet creatures, have poop pickers to provide them with food and drink, and are responsible for pleasing them. Some people like to live a busy, fulfilling and meaningful life." Pleasing both sides, the Origin King snorted. Humans are really slippery. Thinking about how he would have to manage thousands of humans in the future, and how each of them was so slippery, it was really difficult. Thinking so, the Origin King's gaze towards Dong Qian became more and more unfriendly. Although he had never been friendly, this gaze still made Dong Qian curse in his heart. "It's really too difficult for me." Ning Shu glanced at Dong Qian and the Origin King indifferently. He was too lazy to compete with the Origin King, but he was a little unwilling. He had just caught a fucking human, but it turned out that he was a professional. According to Dong Qian's temperament, he might really support the Origin King's plan to capture humans from a small world to build the void. Dong Qian trembled even more violently. He was clearly pleasing both sides, but both sides were looking at him with murderous intent. For a moment, Ning Shu couldn't figure out if Su Kong wanted to change his appearance, change his voice and smile, change his clothes. Should he intervene or not? Should he help or just watch from the side? His head hurt, and people like Dong Qian, Ning Shu thought for a while. Regardless of the Origin King's matter, Dong Qian could not be in the Origin King's hands. To put it bluntly, the Origin King would definitely not be able to play with Dong Qian. He might even become a knife in Dong Qian's hand. She really looked down on the Origin King's IQ. Even her IQ was lower than his, yet he still wanted to control the huge human population? What kind of daydream was this? Did he think he was Grand Uncle? Ning Shu stretched out his hand. "Give this person to me. If you want a human, go find one yourself." The Origin King did not really want to fall out with Ning Shu over a human soul, and there were some places where the Origin King really needed Ning Shu. He threw the soul into Ning Shu's hands. "Dong Qian. Was this father a ball?" Dong Qian was so angry that he was about to cry. He felt like he was a ball without any dignity, being snatched and kicked here and there, his dignity crushed. However, these people could kill him with just a flick of their fingers, so he really could not resist. He even shouted, Can't you show me some respect?" Chapter 4137. Dong Qian was choked by fate and didn't dare to move. The Origin King, however, was very angry and accused Ning Shu. "This is double standards. How am I a double standard?" Ning Shu asked angrily. The Origin King blabbered, "Senior uncle is also enslaving humans. Why don't you blabber? When I said I was looking for humans, I only asked them to work. I didn't ask them to go through fire and water, but you blabber and blabber that I enslaved them. Too much double standards." Ning Shu rolled his eyes. "Do you really think I'm a double standard?" The Origin King said indifferently, "Is it not double standards?" Ning Shu immediately said, "I'm worried about my IQ." "Do you know why I said that?" "It's because I can't control it." The Origin King snorted twice. "How do you know I can't control it? I find humans to enslave them, and Senior Uncle finds humans to cooperate with them, right? How do you know which humans are content with being weak? How do you know that some humans don't yearn for great power? Why do you think they should stay in a small world and live a short and unquestionable life?" Ning Shu sneered, "I'm really worried about my IQ. Don't blabber with me. You always say I'm blocking your way. When did I stop you? If you want to do it, I'll drag your legs." The Origin King, "You didn't stop me, but you're always singing bad praises for me. Dong Qian. Who was the real father here? Earthworm, steam or not? Ning Shu replied, steam, Dong Qian. Don't. Ning Shu said angrily, if I blabber about this again, I'll change my surname. The Origin King snorted, touched his nose, and asked Dong Qian, can you build a house? The Origin King still wanted to fight for this soul. He always felt that since it was brought back by Ning Shu, there would always be something that Ning Shu liked. To put it simply, snatching things was better. Dong Qian wanted to get rid of the fate of becoming a skeleton, but it seemed that he might not succeed. He wanted to say that he could build a house, but damn, he could manage a real estate company, but he didn't know how to burn bricks or make cement. As for steel and other things, he knew the general direction of the place, but he really couldn't get these things out. Dong Qian immediately said, I can help you find someone to repair the house. Ning Shu patted his head. Behave yourself. Dong Qian immediately felt as if his soul was being torn apart. He was almost scared out of his wits. For the Origin King, this was simply sending charcoal in snowy weather. Having encountered an oasis in the desert, he immediately said to Ning Shu, give this person to me. Ning Shu, I'll give it to you if you call me Dad. Dong Qian, oh my God, why were they so provocative when they spoke? Why were they so confrontational? The Void King, Father, Dong Qian? Following which, Dong Qian felt his soul relax as it was sent into the hands of another person. Ning Shu understood that he could not stop the Origin King, nor did he have the qualifications to stop him. If he really couldn't control it and suffered a backlash, that was his problem. Not long after, a white skeleton was brought to the courtyard by the earthworms. As for the meat, because it had been cooked for a long time, there was a foul smell. He dug a deep pit and buried it. Dong Qian watched as his body turned into a skeleton. This feeling was really strange. It hurt so much. Ning Shu looked at Dong Qian, who had escaped a calamity, and said to Void King, he is in soul form, and his soul is very fragile. If the wind in the void is a little stronger, his soul will be blown away. The Origin King shook Dong Qian twice. He also felt that he was really too weak and could be crushed to death with a finger. The Origin King Ning Shu asked, what do you think we should do? Turn him into a skeleton, and then add merit to his body. This will make him very tough. Dong Qian? So, in the end, this was still his fate. Then why did he fight so hard before? To fight the air with his wits and courage? I don't want to become a skeleton. I'd rather be a soul than a skeleton. The Origin King asked, if there is no merit to add to the body, will it be very fragile? Ning Shu, yes, it will be fractured in one hit. The Origin King? Dong Qian? Dong Qian couldn't wait to have his soul destroyed. The Origin King frowned. So fragile? And what the hell is merit? I don't know what it is. Where can I get it? Ning Shu shrugged her shoulders. She just wanted to turn Dong Qian into a skeleton. As for whether there was any merit to it, she didn't care very much, Ning Shu said. If you really want merit, you can ask the Abyssal Prefect and the Little Demon. It's the world of reincarnation we went to last time. They have merit in their hands. The Origin King was not a young man who had just come out of the abyss. He said, if I want it, they will give it to me? Ning Shu rolled her eyes at him. Smash it with your energy body. If a rich man used money to smash people, the people who were smashed would definitely be very happy. And this kind of stupid rich man was very welcome. The Origin King. My energy body wasn't blown here by the wind. Ning Shu. Wasn't it blown here by the wind? These energy bodies, did they have to work hard to find one? They were all made by the creatures of the underground world. Now that they had obtained it, they were acting like they had worked hard to earn it. Well, the Origin King couldn't win against Ning Shu, and he had stolen one of her people. At this time, he didn't dare to argue with Ning Shu too much. Dong Qian said in despair, can I become a skeleton and maintain this state? If he really became a skeleton, Dong Qian realized that he would be a skeleton for the rest of his life. If he was a soul, he might be able to reincarnate. If he wanted to attack, he could retreat and defend. I really want to be a human and give him a chance. Now that Dong Qian was the Origin King's subordinate, Ning Shu was too lazy to care and ran over to sort out the bones. The bones were smooth and not a bit of flesh was stuck to them. They were very good bones. Dong Qian begged his new master, "Can I be a soul?" The Origin King disdained, "No, this is too weak. I don't want such a weak subordinate." Dong Qian wanted to cry, but he also knew that he had no ability to resist. He could only stammer to Ning Shu and ask, "Is there anything I need to pay attention to during this process?" Ning Shu thought for a moment, "Does very, very painful count?" Dong Qian's soul trembled twice. "I can endure." He couldn't. "Ning Shu, maybe your soul will scatter, and there will be rejection during the fusion. Or maybe your soul won't be able to endure and you will fail in the end." Dong Qian's legs trembled. "Is the risk so high?" "I refuse, do you hear me, idiot?" Ning Shu stared at Dong Qian. "It's best to find a belief that allows you to persevere. After all, only a soul with deep obsession can persevere, and a soul with deep obsession may not necessarily succeed." Dong Qian was already powerless to cry. His life was really too bitter. Chapter 41:38. Dong Qian had already cried out in his heart countless times, "Why me? There are so many people in this world, how can this kind of thing fall on my head?" Dong Qian did not feel the beauty of this new world. What power? What longevity? It was not beautiful at all. Ning Shu nodded and said, "By the way, you will also lose your memories." The Origin King immediately said, "How can he work for me without his memories? Damn it, he's as ignorant as I am, okay? What's the use of having him?" Dong Qian immediately sensed a glimmer of hope. Ning Shu said, "I will also lose my memories. Without my memories, how can I help, sir?" Ning Shu looked at Dong Qian coldly. "Are you questioning me?" Dong Qian immediately shook his head. "I'm not, I'm just worried that I won't be able to help, sir." His expression was particularly loyal. Origin King Ning Shu asked, "Is there any other way?" Ning Shu stretched out his hand. "I need to have strength to think of a way." The Origin King snorted, took out a small bag of energy bodies, and placed it in Ning Shu's hand. Ning Shu's expression was displeased. "That's all." The Origin King also became angry. "Take it or leave it, if you don't want it, forget it." Dong Qian was very curious about what they were trading. Was this thing money? If these people cared about it, it must be something good. Ning Shu put away the energy bodies and said, "You can also maintain your soul state." The Origin King rolled his eyes. "So weak, how can you maintain it?" Ning Shu nodded. "The soul can also be strong and can be blessed with virtue." Dong Qian felt weak, but he was finally able to maintain his memories and not become a skeleton. Dong Qian's heart was particularly resistant to being a skeleton. He was a normal human being and he could not accept becoming a skeleton. He did not want to live in such an ugly state. The Origin King touched his nose and asked again, "Then how can you strengthen your soul?" Ning Shu coughed and stretched out his hand. The Origin King was furious. This was robbing a burning house. He had never seen such a greedy person before. He could only tremble as he took out a bag of energy bodies. Even if he had a mountain of wealth, being moved by Ning Shu bit by bit like a mouse made him feel as if a knife was being twisted in his heart. He didn't feel good. Ning Shu quickly took the bag from his hand, but the Origin King clutched the bag tightly. Ning Shu had to pull it out of his hands twice before he could do so. What's there to deduct? This is a necessary expenditure. If you really succeed in the future, there will be mountains and seas of wealth flowing from your hands every day. Void King? His heart ached so much. Void King, what is it? Ning Shu put away the bag. Fa Tian had food again. He didn't know when Fa Tian would wake up. Ning Shu said, "Since his soul is weak, let's strengthen it and give him some soul energy." The Origin King suddenly sighed. "Isn't that simple? I'll just go to the Transmigration world and catch some souls for him to eat." Ning Shu rolled her eyes at him. "Feed him more of this soul that is mixed with the 7 emotions and 6 desires soul poison. Then he will become a soul that has no consciousness and will even go crazy." The Origin King suddenly became irritable. "This won't do, that won't do, Then what do you think we should do? Ning Shu glanced at him sideways. This is your leadership ability. If you're so irritable, how can you manage your subordinates? The Origin King suddenly looked at Dong Qian. Do I look that bad? Am I not a qualified leader? Dong Qian said with great difficulty, No, you are a qualified leader. How could this elementary school chicken be a qualified leader? He was even inferior to a rich second generation like him. The Origin King said to Ning Shu, Go on. Ning Shu rolled his eyes so much that his pupils couldn't be seen. All that could be seen was the whites of his eyes, as if he was blind. Are you stupid? Since you don't have pure soul power, then carry the energy body to find pure soul power. Not only will there be pure soul power, but there will also be merit. The Origin King subconsciously asked, Where can I find pure soul energy? Ning Shu looked at him expressionlessly. The Origin King suddenly hammered his palm. Grand Uncle, Ning Shu's requirements for the Origin King were very low. Seeing him finally react, a twisted gratification flashed across his face. The Origin King's face became awkward again. Ning Shu didn't speak, so the Origin King finally said, I can't go by myself. Can you be the middleman? In the end, the Origin King was afraid that he would be cheated. Moreover, the Origin King felt a little inferior. He was just a dog, not even a small group. The other party was a big group, so he felt a little guilty. In the end, he still had to rely on Ning Shu. Ning Shu chuckled, Isn't that simple? Just throw in money. It's already so difficult for you to buy something. You want to sell your house in the future? Dream on. The Origin King consciously took out 2 bags of energy bodies. Ning Shu reluctantly accepted the money. There was no other way. He was now a poor man, and there were still people waiting to eat at home. Dong Qian's heart was filled with both joy and despair. He was walking on a road of no return, and it was a road with no end in sight. He didn't know what to do at all. He was very confused. However, Dong Qian was most afraid that he would die. These people were too ferocious, and he was too weak. These people seemed to be running around for his strength, which was great. If he was strong, he would have a little confidence, earthworm. So, don't take the skeleton. Ning Shu waved his hand. No, just bury it. Finally, he was buried in peace. Dong Qian was moved to tears. Earthworm dragged the skeleton away expressionlessly, and then there were broken bones all the way, causing Dong Qian's eyebrows to twitch. It was indescribably strange and abnormal. Mother, I want to go home. I don't want to be here. The people here are so scary. Dong Qian was still mourning that he couldn't be buried completely, but in the next second his consciousness became chaotic and he fell into a deep sleep. The Origin King put away Dong Qian's soul with a very disgusted expression. You're really too weak. I don't even dare to use too much force. Take the energy body and come with me to find Grand Uncle. After giving the money, the Origin King confidently ordered Ning Shu, Wait a moment. Ning Shu came to Fa Tian's room. There was the sound of chewing in the room. It was Jin Ji eating. On the other hand, Heaven Punishing was still a whip. It had no thoughts and did not move at all. Ning Shu poured all the energy body he extorted from the Origin King on Fa Tian, hoping that this energy was enough. Jin Ji swallowed the food in her mouth and asked Ning Shu, When will he wake up? Ning Shu sighed, I don't know. She didn't know what was going on with Fa Tian, nor did she know how long he would sleep. She didn't know what Fa Tian had sacrificed. Jin Ji's mouth was still stained with food. She asked Ning Shu with some uncertainty, Then he will wake up, right? Chapter 4139. From when he would wake up to when he would wake up, this was a big difference, and her expectations were greatly reduced. Ning Shu said with certainty, He will definitely wake up. Fa Tian should know in his heart that he would not lose his life. All she could do was find more energy bodies so that he would have enough energy and attributes as soon as possible. Ning Shu bared his teeth, really wanting to rob the Origin King. The Origin King knocked on the door. Are you done yet? Are you going back on your word? Do you have any spirit of contract? I paid for it. Ning Shu opened the door and said angrily, We will go sooner or later. What's the hurry? The Origin King said, "Pay attention to your service attitude, I paid for it." "You paid for it, but I didn't sell it to you. Why do you care what I do? Now is not the time to serve you." The Origin King glanced at the room. He hasn't woken up yet. What's there to say about a whip like an idiot? Ning Shu said, "I'm happy to do it. Why do you care what I do?" The Origin King raised his hands. "I don't care. Take me to get pure soul force." He emphasized the word, pure. A primary school chicken like the Origin King would show whatever he was thinking on his face. It was nothing more than thinking that she was lying to him. Moreover, when he went to find that organization, he had a suspicious attitude and felt that he should not spend his money in vain. Before Ning Shu left, she said to the earthworm, "Tao Yin," she dragged out her voice, "I want to eat the food you cook, wait for me to come back." The earthworm said expressionlessly, "My hand just fiddled with the corpse." Ning Shu, "Okay, I'll eat it later. By the way, did you fall behind in your cultivation? How is it going? Is it gas, liquid, solid, or form?" The earthworm, "What do you want to eat?" Ning Shu, "Braised pork, 8 treasure duck, I want to lose weight, and a few vegetarian dishes." After sending off Ning Shu and the Origin King, the earthworm picked up the bones left behind like firewood, so as not to make the yard too gloomy. After all, stepping on someone's bones while walking out was something that would affect one's mood. The Origin King put on the posture of a business negotiation, but when he really arrived, he deflated like a punctured balloon. It was impossible to look for the grand uncle all over the world. Who knew where he was? Then he would look for Sang Liang. They were in a state of being together. If he could find Sang Liang, he would be able to contact the grand uncle. Ning Shu swaggered into the city of law like a big shot and had to crawl into the consultation room like a crab. From the moment she entered the city of laws, she could feel that something was watching her, staring at her without hiding anything. Ning Shu allowed this gaze to stare at him. After entering the consultation room, Ning Shu sat on a chair. Seeing Su Wang standing there, he said, "Sit down and wait." After waiting for a while, Sang Liang did not come out. Ning Shu knocked his legs, not in a hurry at all. However, there was no tea. This service was too bad. Ning Shu took out an eyeball. This kind of fish eyeball was given to her by Dong Lan. She played with it in her hand out of boredom. As a result, she accidentally pinched it, and the gray-white thing inside splashed out and splashed on the ground. The air was filled with the smell of fish. Ning Shu directly threw the eyeball on the ground and then casually wiped the liquid on her hand on the wall. The Origin King made a sound of surprise, his expression disgusted. Obviously, he was a little disgusted. The bored Ning Shu took out another eyeball. This time, the Origin King stayed away from her. "What's wrong with you?" Ning Shu sighed and looked at him sympathetically. She didn't want to say anything to him. Just as the second eyeball was about to be pinched out, Sang Liang came out of the inner room with a book. He lifted the curtain and paused for a moment before coming out. He did not even look at the gray-white liquid on the ground and asked indifferently, "What do you want from me?" Ning Shu pinched the eyeball in her hand, and the gray-white liquid splashed out again. Sang Liang frowned, and there was some anger between his brows. Ning Shu wiped her hand on the wall again, leaving mottled marks on the wall. She said, "I suggest you put some paper in the room. Just like now, my hand is dirty, and I don't know where to wipe it." Sang Liang said, "I think you should bring paper with you." Ning Shu said casually, "There is no paper in the consultation room. It's your problem. You have to solve it." Sang Liang was too lazy to look at Ning Shu, who had no quality and bad conduct. He flipped through the book and said indifferently, "What's the matter?" Ning Shu said to the Origin King, "I've called the person for you. If you have something to say, say it yourself." The Origin King coughed and was a little nervous. Even his ears were red. "Do you have pure soul power? I want to buy it." The louder he was, the more it felt like he was bluffing. Ning Shu rolled her eyes. Dragging this brat out was simply embarrassing her. Sang Liang was very calm and asked, "What do you want this for?" The Origin King did not want to reveal his business secrets. He straightened his neck and said, "I'm just asking if you have it or not. Why are you asking so many questions? Just tell me, Are you selling it or not? Sang Liang, not selling. The Origin King was suddenly stuck. Were all sellers so arrogant these days? He did not ask you to gently call me a kiss, but don't be so straightforward. How am I supposed to respond to that? You're making me embarrassed. Damn it. Ning Shu took out a grayish-white fish eyeball. The eyeball had been left there for a long time, so the smell was a little strong. She also took out the eyeball that was in the room earlier. After a while, the entire consultation room was filled with the smell of fish and decay. Sang Liang glanced at her and asked the Origin King, "What do you want to do with this thing? I need to know its use. If you use it elsewhere, it will cause an imbalance between the world of life and the world of reincarnation." The Origin King said directly, "I have a weak soul. I need this thing." Although that soul was really weak, he could not tell outsiders. Otherwise, others would think that his subordinates were weak. Sang Liang did not speak, but the Origin King asked directly, "Are you selling it?" The Origin King took out a small bag of energy and threw it on the table with a clang. "This is an energy body." The Origin King probably enjoyed the feeling of throwing money. Sang Liang glanced at it and said expressionlessly, "This energy body is not what we want." The Origin King probably did not expect that his trick, which had always worked, would fail and asked irritably, "Then what do you want?" Sang Liang, "You don't have what I want, and some people don't want to give it." The Origin King. Speak human language. One was buying something, the other was selling something. What was the point of making it so complicated? What kind of trick was this? Ning Shu looked at Sang Liang dumbfounded. "What did you say? I want you?" Was this blatant unspoken rule? Chapter 4140. Ning Shu looked at Sang Liang speechlessly and said, "You're still a child. You won't even let go of a child? You're so naughty." Sang Liang was too lazy to pay attention to her, not even giving her a single glance. Ning Shu smacked his lips. Sang Liang's behavior was wrong. How could he do business with the unspoken rules? The Origin King felt that something was wrong, but for the sake of his career he still asked Sang Liang, "What do you want to trade?" He didn't want his energy body, but he didn't seem to have anything valuable on him. He was really so poor that he only had his energy body. He was really a poor man. Sang Liang, "We only want initial energy." The Origin King looked blank. "What the hell is that? I've never heard of it or seen it before." Ning Shu said to the Origin King, "You don't have what they want, let's go." Sang Liang was not angry at all and instead felt a little benevolent. "We'll trade again when you have the time." Ning Shu left the consultation room with the dizzy Origin King and walked down the street. The Origin King asked Ning Shu, "What is he talking about?" Ning Shu did not hide anything, the energy at the beginning of a plane's formation. The Origin King was dumbfounded. Where am I supposed to find such a damn thing? He even suspected that the other party did not want to trade and instead came up with such an inexplicable thing. Ning Shu shrugged and said to the Origin King, "This kind of thing is really not easy to find. Its energy obtained at the beginning of a plane's formation, and its state is unknown. Your current mentality and ability are actually that of a cub. Do you want to play in the mud for a few more years and have a good childhood?" Ning Shu sincerely minded. The lifespan of void creatures was very long, so why was he in such a hurry? If the Origin King really wanted to work for this career, he would have to work for who knows how many years. For the lazy Ning Shu, this was a very scary thing. If he had to work for a lifetime, what was wrong with playing for a while? The Origin King was just about to refute when Ning Shu said again, "I'm not asking you to play, but to learn. Don't let yourself be so ignorant that you don't know what others are saying." The Origin King looked at Ning Shu and found that there was no mockery on her face. He also felt that he had been too ignorant. However, he would never admit it. "Do you think I'm ignorant?" Ning Shu asked. "What do you think?" Void King, "I think it's okay." Ning Shu wanted to buy some desserts. After all, it wasn't easy for earthworms to make desserts. They didn't have the materials and skills. However, without merit he was poor. When Ning Shu arrived at the restaurant of the Cheongsam man, the waiter came up to greet Ning Shu. Ning Shu asked, "Apart from using merit to pay, What else can your restaurant use? The waiter's smile was very polite and official. Sir, we only accept merit. The Origin King had failed to throw money at them before, so he was quite displeased. He took out a small bag and slammed it on the table. This thing is 10,000 times better than your merit points. Energy bodies were good things, but some people didn't know what they were. Moreover, this kind of thing was not circulated among mission enforcers and organizations. The waiter opened the money bag and saw the colorful stones inside. He didn't know what to say and could only politely send the two out. The Origin King. What the hell is this place? I have money but I can't spend it. What the hell? The Origin King was very irritable and slammed his fist on the table. He wanted to fight. Don't move, the currency is not circulated. Let's go. In other people's territory, they had to use their currency. Without money, they couldn't even eat desserts and cakes. Forget it, she wanted to lose weight. Desserts and cakes were too high in calories. She would get fat if she ate them. The Origin King, who had gained nothing, was expressionless. Ning Shu didn't care. Young people just needed to suffer more setbacks. In the future, the Origin King would encounter this kind of thing many times. Although it was poisonous chicken soup, it was indeed the truth. The Origin King stretched out his hand. Give me back my energy body. Ning Shu looked at him from the corner of his eyes. The Origin King, you didn't even succeed. Why are you charging? Ning Shu said, that's the middleman fee, all right? I did set up a contact for you and helped you get in touch with him. But when it comes to transactions, it's a matter of mutual consent. Now you want to take back the middleman fee? Do you think that's ethical? The Origin King, I don't care, I don't listen. Ning Shu, can you be more mature? It was very childish to pester endlessly. Ning Shu said coldly, it's not like there's only one place to do business. If this one doesn't work, we can change to another. The Origin King immediately said, what you said is very reasonable. I think so too. So which one should we go to next? Ning Shu snorted, his face showing obvious disdain. Let's find someone with merit and soul power, such as His Excellency, such as Little Demon. The Origin King, then let's go now. Ning Shu found the location of the space node marked last time, then tore open the bit wall and entered the world of reincarnation. Seeing Ning Shu, His Excellency's pale face showed very obvious emotions. Dissatisfaction, unhappiness, and disgust. Anyone would be pissed to death if their home was so casually entered and left so casually. Ning Shu also felt that he had gone a bit too far. He should have made an appointment to give some face to his partner, so he took the Origin King out of the world of reincarnation and then sent a message to His Excellency. An old friend is here to visit. Are you free? His Excellency. He almost laughed out of anger. What was the difference between this and knocking on the door after entering the house? His Excellency. Only then did Ning Shu tear open the space wall and enter. His Excellency didn't like Ning Shu. He didn't like him when he was still a rookie, and he still didn't like him now. Ning Shu didn't care about His Excellency's attitude at all. He said to His Excellency, I brought you a business deal. You can talk about it. His Excellency didn't comment. He played with a red flower in his hand. His snow-white fingers made the flower look like it was about to drip blood. He said coldly, what business? The Origin King took out another money bag. It's full of energy. His Excellency's figure straightened slightly. He glanced at the bag and asked coldly, what do you want? The Origin King said directly, I want pure soul power and merit. His Excellency just shook his head. No. Ning Shu. No my ass. His Excellency had hundreds of millions of skeletons, and these skeletons all needed merit to increase their strength. As for pure soul power, maybe there was, maybe there wasn't, but he had a lot of unpurified soul power in his hands. With Dong Qian's fragile soul, he might be able to hold on for a while with a little impure soul power, but after all, it was polluted. Pollution was easy to cure, but it was difficult to restore it. Chapter 41-41. The soul poison couldn't be removed at all, unless one jumped into the reincarnation pool. When the soul poison was removed, one's soul power would also be scraped away, and one's soul would become much thinner. Hearing His Excellency say no, the Phantom King was a little confused and angry. Why are these damn places so poor? There's nothing here? His Excellency glanced at him. This idiot, Ning Shu didn't force His Excellency. She wouldn't be angry if the business didn't succeed. After all, it wasn't her business. Ning Shu asked, "You don't have it? Then I'll ask him." Ning Shu was talking about the little devil. The little devil was now the lord of Samsara. Even if she couldn't establish a relationship with the Grand Elder, she should have some resources with His Excellency behind her. His Excellency glanced at Ning Shu and felt that she was a terrible relative, lying on the little devil's body and sucking her blood. Ning Shu? His Excellency's gaze was too obvious. Ning Shu couldn't pretend not to see it. His feelings were too strong, and his condemnation was too obvious. Fuck, he was looking for the little devil to buy something, not rob her. What was His Excellency doing? Why was he so guarded against her? Ning Shu was a little confused. It was you who took the little devil away. Why couldn't I see her once a year? Did she do something outrageous or unforgivable? Ning Shu was also very unhappy. She felt that she had been insulted, so she said directly, "What do you mean? I'm looking for him to introduce business to him. I'm exchanging things with him, not robbing him. If you don't want to do business with us, then I'll find someone else. You're so unreasonable, so ruthless, and so inhumane. I'm really disappointed in you." His Excellency's eyebrows twitched when he heard Ning Shu's bitchy words. He restrained the emotions on his face and eyes and said coldly, "I don't have the pure soul power you want, but I have a little merit." His Excellency said with some disdain, "What's the use of just merit?" Ning Shu said, "It's useful. How can it be useless? At least he could get some dessert." Ning Shu said to the Void King, "Then you can exchange for some merit points. Merit points are also useful to the soul." The Void King was unwilling, and he had not succeeded even once. It was quite troublesome. Exchanging an energy spirit body for merit, to be honest, was a loss, but there was no other way. The Origin King needed it. Next, it was time to discuss the method of exchange. Ning Shu would not let the Origin King suffer a loss, as even an abyssal prefect should know about energy forms. Generally speaking, the lower echelons of an organization wouldn't be privy to such information, but an abyssal prefect should be privy to such information. One energy body for 100 merit points. The abyssal prefect glanced at Ning Shu. "What are you thinking? You're so fat, yet you're dreaming." Kong Kong, she's always making personal attacks. "It's really frustrating to work with someone like her," Ning Shu coldly said. "Not only am I beautiful, but I'm also beautiful." The abyssal prefect said, "One energy form can provide 20 merit points." Ning Shu chuckled. "You're really old and ugly. Dream on." The Void King who couldn't get a word in edgewise? Do you have to attack like this when doing business? In a quarrel, whoever won would benefit. The abyssal prefect snorted. "Then I won't trade. If you don't want to trade, then don't. I'll find someone else to trade with and give you the energy of the void." Abyssal prefect, you're a life form born in a small world. Although you're much stronger than the life forms of a small world, compared to the life forms of a small world, you're still a bit weaker. If you absorb a bit of the void's energy, you'll be able to improve your physique. If I give you an opportunity, you can treat me as a poor relative. In terms of physical strength, I can beat you to the ground, but in terms of behavior, I'm willing to cooperate with you. Who do you think you're mocking? Ning Shu ground his teeth, his eyes looking at the abyssal prefect more and more unfriendly. It was as if he didn't want to trade with the abyssal prefect anymore and only wanted to fight with him. The abyssal prefect was afraid of Ning Shu, so of course he wasn't. His expression didn't change as he said, "Some people break into other people's homes like bandits and still expect others to treat them well." Ning Shu's face was full of curiosity. "One day, you can actually use the word bandits to describe others. I always thought that this word belonged to you guys." Ning Shu tilted his head, as if he was reminiscing about the past. "Back then, You broke into my world of samsara and took away the master of samsara. Now you're calling me a bandit? We're the same. The abyssal prefect chuckled. So, you're here for revenge? Ning Shu made a sound of surprise. You're too narrow-minded. How can I possibly take revenge? I'm just returning home in glory and glory, to show off. After all, at that time she was very weak. She was the one who handed the little demon to the abyssal prefect. It was a matter of her strength. She didn't hate the abyssal prefect. The situation forced her. The abyssal prefect looked at the complacent Ning Shu and clicked his tongue. You're so arrogant now. Ning Shu shrugged. Why can't I be arrogant? If I could press you to the ground and bow to you, then there would be a problem. Ning Shu, one energy body is worth 80 merit points. The abyssal prefect, 30. Ning Shu, 90. The abyssal prefect, 20. Dongqian? What are you guys talking about? Why can't I understand it all? Ning Shu, 100. The abyssal prefect, 10. Ning Shu, since we can't reach an agreement, then let's not do business. Let's go. Ning Shu said to the abyssal prefect. The abyssal prefect, I don't really understand your grudges. Ning Shu tore open the bitwall and left the world of samsara. The abyssal prefect didn't stop him. The abyssal prefect casually opened the chat interface. It was a message from the main system. The abyssal prefect glanced at it and then closed the chat interface. His eyelashes drooped slightly, as if he was thinking or taking a nap. He put his fingers on his knees and tapped rhythmically. After leaving the world of samsara, the abyssal prefect said unhappily, Whatever grudges you have, it's none of my business. Why do you use my business to mess around? Ning Shu explained carefully, he has no intention of cooperating with us, no with you, so there's no need to talk about it. The abyssal prefect was stunned for a moment. How do you know? Ning Shu explained again. The first person we met and the person we're meeting now have cooperation between them. They're in the same boat. Sang Liang must have informed the abyssal prefect. The abyssal prefect was surprised. Since you know, why are you still here? Ning Shu, there's no loss in this trip. If you can get it, you'll make a profit. If you can't, it also proves something. Anyway, you won't lose anything. The abyssal prefect looked at Ning Shu speechlessly. Then where are we going next? Ning Shu, we have to shop around. The abyssal prefect, this is the second shop. Is there a third? Ning Shu, of course there is, but it depends on your luck. Call me Dad. The abyssal prefect, Dad. Chapter 41-42. In the end, what else could he do? He could only worry for her like a father. Ning Shu, don't move around here, I'll go buy some oranges. Ning Shu found the spatial node and directly found the world of reincarnation and entered it. She checked the world of reincarnation and found that there were a lot of them. Some of them had already taken shape, but some were empty. Some of them had souls. Little fiends still managed these world of reincarnation very well. Void King asked, Are you looking for the other one? The last time she came, she left a mark and could directly find Little Fiend. Void King thought about it and said, I feel that their relationship is better. Ning Shu turned around and left, then let's go back. Void King immediately pulled Ning Shu and said, Since you're already here, why are you leaving? When Ning Shu and Little Fiend entered the world of reincarnation, the skeletons in the world of reincarnation felt that someone had invaded. A group of skeletons surrounded Ning Shu and Little Fiend. They held weapons in their hands. These weapons looked sharp and were much better than the weapons that Ning Shu gave them. Ning Shu looked at these skeletons. His eyes were dazzled and he really couldn't recognize them. It felt like they were all the same. Intruder, please leave. The skeleton threatened. Ning Shu hurriedly raised his hands and surrendered. I'm here to find someone, not to invade your world. You have to believe me. These skeletons didn't believe Ning Shu. Ning Shu asked, Is Zhu Jun here? He's not here. He's in another world of reincarnation. Or you? The skeleton asked. There wasn't a single familiar face. It was really drunk. Ning Shu said, Then inform your leader that Ning Shu is here to visit. She no longer had the right to use this world. She couldn't feel the connection between her and this world. It didn't belong to her at all. In this world of reincarnation, she had also fed him with things. Bit by bit, she had put in a lot of hard work and raised this peerless martial art. She was like an old mother who had put in a lot of hard work. Forget it, I'll just treat it as property for the little demon. In a sense, the little devil was also her junior. She didn't need it in the world of samsara, and she needed to spend time managing it. She should give it to the little devil and let it fulfill its responsibilities. Ning Shu directly sat down. He was a little tired. He said to the vigilant skeletons, "You guys, quickly go and inform him. If you don't, I will continue to wait here until he returns." Skeleton was very angry. He wanted to expel Ning Shu directly, but he also knew that he might not be able to defeat her. She could tear open the bit wall directly, but they couldn't. This was the difference in strength. A few skeletons left. The remaining skeletons were all monitoring Ning Shu, fearing that the two of them would cause trouble in the world of reincarnation. Ning Shu felt gratified when he saw these skeletons doing their job. The Origin King looked at these golden skeletons. To a certain extent, they were quite beautiful. You want to turn that soul into a skeleton like this? The Origin King was a little tempted, wanting to turn his first subordinate into a skeleton like this. With self-awareness and some strength, this was the kind of subordinate Dong Qian wanted. The Origin King said directly, "How about we directly turn him into a skeleton?" He didn't have a finished product before. Now that he saw the finished product, he was quite tempted. In fact, skeletons were not bad. Ning Shu said coldly, "It's also possible, but these skeletons have no memories of their lives. They are all souls with deep obsession. Like that soul, it may not be able to withstand the pain of fusion." The Origin King touched his chin and said, "Why do we have to make skeletons ourselves? Why don't we just trade skeletons? What do you think? Don't be a producer of skeletons. Since there were people who could produce skeletons, why should they do something they weren't good at?" Ning Shu looked at the Origin King with a little gratification. At least he had this awareness. But His Excellency and the little devil might not agree to trade skeletons. Skeletons made up the army of the world of reincarnation. If they were casually traded, it was likely to cause unrest in the army. These skeletons were all intelligent, and they were all souls with deep obsession. They had experienced a lot in their lives. Being traded like this was absolutely unbearable. Their loyalty would be greatly reduced. After all, there was no need to be loyal to people who would sell them at any time. Although His Excellency and the little devil had the ability to suppress these skeletons, there was no need to cause so much trouble for a little profit. Hearing Ning Shu's affirmation, the Origin King was a little proud. "Then I will buy the skeletons directly. As for the soul, I will return it. No need to thank me." Ning Shu chuckled. When the time came, reality would teach him a lesson. Ning Shu chatted with these skeletons. They talked about the world of reincarnation, such as the monsters formed by soul poison and so on. These skeletons answered carefully. When it came to confidential matters, they would keep quiet. The Origin King, who was listening to their conversation, asked Ning Shu, "I feel very familiar with this place. Not only this place, but also the Grand Uncle organization." Ning Shu sighed, "I actually had a lot of merits in my previous account." "There are merits?" Ning Shu said, "Unfortunately, my previous account has been cancelled by the organization. As for the things in the account, naturally, they are the organization's. She was dead, so the organization would definitely delete this person's information. It was a pity that the merits in her previous account were gone. When she didn't need them, she didn't feel anything. But when she needed them, she felt her heart ache. No, she had to get them back. She had to get back the merits in her account. Those were her things. The merits she got back could be exchanged with the Origin King for energy bodies, and the energy bodies could be used by Fation. The more Ning Shu thought about it, the more tempted she was. Those merits were earned by herself. She either bought them or traded them. She couldn't let them keep her merits. This was equivalent to her own death. Could the bank keep the money? Now that she was alive, she had to get it back. The leader is not here. She went to other places and can't be contacted for the time being. Come back later. The skeleton came back and said directly to Ning Shu. The skeletons present were nervous, on guard against Ning Shu's sudden anger. Ning Shu stood up, patted the sand on her butt and said slowly, "Then I'll come back next time. Remember to tell her that I've been here." It should be true that they couldn't contact her. If they could, the little devil would come over. This little bit of affection was still there. Ning Shu left the world of reincarnation with the Origin King. The Origin King was in a bad mood. After running around for so long, I don't even know what the merits look like. Ning Shu said, "You'll know soon." We visited all 3 places. Is there anything else to visit? Ning Shu said, there was something wrong with my brain. Speaking of merits, any task taker with the little strength has them. Chapter 41-43. Not to mention powerful mission enforcers, people like the auctioneer and acquaintances in the army all had merit points. She didn't have to look for the government for this kind of thing. She could also look for individual investors. Besides, she had to get back the merit points in her account. She couldn't let the organization take advantage of her. Origin King glanced at Ning Shu and didn't say anything to dampen their morale. She was helping him. She was usually lazy, so he should let her help him a little longer. Origin King, then where are we going now? Origin King couldn't help but sigh. Origin King couldn't help but sigh. Ning Shu entered the consultation room. The first thing he did was to take out a fisheye and play with it in his hand. Origin King sat next to Ning Shu. Even if he disliked Ning Shu, he wouldn't show it. They were now in the same boat. He couldn't let others know that they had internal conflicts. After waiting for a while, he still hadn't come out. Ning Shu pinched a fisheye and took out another one. After a while, Sang Liang came out of the room and looked at Ning Shu impatiently. Ning Shu took a piece of tissue and wiped his hands. After saying that, there was finally tissue in the consultation room. Sang Liang said directly, "Unless you give us what we want, we won't make this deal." Ning Shu, "I'm not here to do business. I'm here to ask for something. Give me back the merit points in my previous account," Ning Shu said straightforwardly. Sang Liang, "The organization has the right to explain." He only knew that this was the reason. All the right to explain was in the hands of the organizers. Ning Shu, you have to be clear. Those things weren't given to me by the organization, but by me. Do you understand? It wasn't a bonus or anything. It belonged to him. Sang Liang, your account has been cancelled. Your account and everything else belong to the organization. Do you think it's reasonable for you to ask for this? Ning Shu blinked. Why is it unreasonable? I want my things back. How is that reasonable? Why do you have to talk about reason with me? But in this case, are you in the right? I can't be bothered to reason with you. Speaking of which, I'm very restless right now. I really want to fight. If you don't want to, then let's fight. Who would reason with him? Are you going to give it to me or not? Ning Shu slammed the table. He didn't know what material the table was made of, but Ning Shu's hand didn't even budge. Instead, it hurt a little. Sang Liang looked at Ning Shu coldly. Are you looking for trouble? Ning Shu, bullshit, I'm here for the money. Pay me back. If you don't pay me back, I'll keep pestering you. Sang Liang was expressionless. Then I'll pester you. Ning Shu jumped directly onto Sang Liang's back. His hands tightly wrapped around Sang Liang's neck and his legs clamped around Sang Liang's waist. However, his legs were too short to clamp down. Sang Liang's expression became very terrifying. He said in a low voice, "Get down." I won't. I've said it before. I'm going to pester you all the time. Unless you return the merit points on my account to me, I'll be on your back for the rest of my life. Do you believe me when I say that? Ning Shu threatened very seriously. With a person on Sang Liang's back, he wanted to see if he could run around. Sang Liang, do you want to die? Then kill me. As long as I don't die, I'll grow on your back. I want to go to the toilet. You know, I'm not in a spirit state anymore. I have physiological needs. Sang Liang's expression was very distorted. His face was as black as the bottom of a pot. He didn't look like a noble at all. He probably didn't expect Ning Shu to be so shameless. Playing with the fishy and disgusting fish eyeballs wasn't even her limit. Sang Liang tried to pull at the arm around his neck, but Ning Shu held it tightly. Who knew when Ning Shu would strangle Sang Liang's throat? Sang Liang was so angry that his whole body was trembling. The book in his hand flew up, and pages flew out one by one. Ning Shu attacked. A golden dragon coiled around Ning Shu, blocking the page's attack. Ding ding dang 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 sounds could be heard. Ning Shu's skin was bleeding, but it was still within the range that he could endure. What was the point of fighting? It was more interesting this way. One day he would climb onto Sang Liang's back. Ning Shu tightened his arm and tightly strangled Sang Liang's neck. It's best not to get too agitated. If I'm not careful, I might cause problems to your neck and your head might turn. Origin King. Fuck, in this situation he really couldn't do anything. He really didn't know what to do. Should he persuade Ning Shu to get off this person's back? Or persuade this person to give the thing to Ning Shu? She was being completely unreasonable. Was Sang Liang that kind of person? Of course not. The pages attacked Ning Shu, but Ning Shu remained motionless. She took a deep breath. Sure enough, there's a smell. Sang Liang's whole body stiffened like a stone. An attractive smell of money. What smell of money? This was the smell of money. Sang Liang, get off. This is my last warning. Think carefully about the consequences. Ning Shu whimpered. I'm not getting off. This is the most glorious moment of my life. I should record it. Unfortunately, I don't have a camera to record it. The next time he went to the pocket world, he would buy a camera and record the beautiful moments of his life. Sang Liang's body trembled slightly. He was obviously angered by Ning Shu. His face was like the bottom of a pot, and even his silver hair was a little messy. He was panting heavily. Ning Shu said, "You will encounter anything in life. You must treat it with a normal heart. Origin King. We are here to do business." After such a thing happened, Origin King could guarantee that this person wouldn't want to see Ning Shu again. Sang Liang calmed down after a while and called Senior Uncle over. Ning Shu looked at the chat interface and said directly, "Even if you call him over, I won't let go." Sang Liang said indifferently, "It doesn't matter if you don't let go. Just chop off his hand." Ning Shu shook his head and said, "It doesn't matter. If you chop it off, it can still grow back. But if you can ride on my body, there won't be a next time in this life. Even if I die under a peony, it's still romantic. It's worth it." After waiting for a while, Senior Uncle didn't come. Sang Liang's face became even darker. Senior Uncle probably hadn't woken up yet. Sang Liang's burden as an idol was still very heavy. He stayed in the consultation room and didn't go anywhere. He closed the door of the consultation room and stopped business. If someone came in at this time and saw such a high-energy scene, it would be quite wonderful. Although many people didn't know that Sang Liang was the main system, it didn't mean that Sang Liang didn't have self-esteem. As the main system's self-esteem and image. To put it simply, Sang Liang wanted face, and he wanted face very much. Chapter 41-44. The scene was very awkward and dull. The Origin King was so embarrassed that he didn't know what to say. Should he leave or stay here? The Origin King suddenly felt as if his heart was about to break. Having an insensible brat at home really made him worry too much, and it wasn't a normal kind of worry. He was forced to grow up overnight. Sang Liang said indifferently, "Let go, or you'll have to bear the consequences." Ning Shu sighed. "What's the use of saying this to me? Threats are useless. You might as well just return the merit on my account to me." Ning Shu smacked her lips again and said, "Uncle Main System, I want to eat dessert. Let's go buy dessert." Sang Liang ignored her and gave her a chuckle. Ning Shu was not angry. Is a little merit more important than the image of the main system? If I shout molestation now, I don't know how many people will come to watch the fun. Sang Liang. Molestation? His voice was full of ridicule. Not to mention that she was a little girl, with her appearance, who would molest her? What kind of illusion was this? Ning Shu sighed. I forgot that I'm still a child now, not a beautiful girl like before. But I said, someone is throwing money, so someone will definitely come. The Origin King wanted to say, don't go too far. Are they here to do business or to make enemies? If the Origin King was treated like this, he would be in the mood to kill this brat. He was really too sensible, and this little girl was too insensible. Ning Shu said, why hasn't Grand Uncle come yet? He doesn't care whether you are partners or not. I've always been curious. Why are you so loyal to Grand Uncle? What kind of feelings do you have to put yourself in Grand Uncle's shoes and worry about Grand Uncle's worries? Sang Liang's body trembled slightly. Obviously, he was not used to people being so close. Disgust and rejection overflowed between his eyebrows. What does this have to do with you? Ning Shu, it has nothing to do with you, but it affects my gossip. I've always suspected that there is some kind of relationship between you two. The Origin King asked humbly, what does relationship mean? Sang Liang's expression was cold and murderous. Don't use dirty thoughts to guess things. Ning Shu clicked his tongue and said, it's not like we're going to tell them. If they see us, they might think too much. Don't tell me that we're not allowed to think about it. Ning Shu hugged Sang Liang's neck tightly and climbed up a little, making Sang Liang's face even darker. When the three of them stopped talking, there was a suffocating silence and awkwardness in the consultation room. Sang Liang's aura could have asked others for help, but he didn't have the awareness to do so. Obviously, he didn't want others to see him like this. Was it because he didn't trust him or simply didn't want others to see him in such a sorry state? Sang Liang had already sent a message to the Grand Uncle, but he still hadn't come over. He didn't know what was going on. Ning Shu said, if he doesn't come to find me, you can go find him. Why are you wasting your time here? Give me back my merit points. Sang Liang stood motionless, as if he hadn't heard Ning Shu's words. Ning Shu didn't care either. He leaned his head on Sang Liang's shoulder, yawned, and began to close his eyes to rest. The Origin King didn't know whether to leave or stay. He felt that a woman like Ning Shu was simply filthy when it came to asking for money. If he owed her money, would she do the same to him? However, the Origin King felt that at this level he couldn't do anything to him at all. He could stay as long as he wanted, therefore, the Origin King didn't understand why Sang Liang was so stubborn now. He wanted both face and money. Sang Liang gritted his teeth and said, if you dare to drool, I'll pull out your teeth one by one and sew your mouth shut. Ning Shu laughed indifferently. This angry and emotional appearance is more like a person. In the past, you always acted like a banished immortal and did the most black-hearted things. I think you're much cuter now. Ning Shu had a lot of time to waste with him anyway, but Sang Liang was different. With someone hanging on him, it must be uncomfortable as if he had thorns growing on his body. And for some reason, the Grand Uncle hadn't come yet. Ning Shu guessed that the Grand Uncle might really be sleeping. If he was awake and saw the news, even if he had something on hand, he would have come after finishing it. Sang Liang was really unlucky to have such a calamity. Ning Shu, I'm a little hungry, I want to eat something. Before leaving, he had asked Earthworm to make some braised pork. He really missed it. Sang Liang didn't speak, and neither did the Origin King. Only Ning Shu spoke. Ning Shu said to Sang Liang again, you should save yourself. The Grand Uncle obviously has no time to take care of you now. Sang Liang also had things that were tied down, such as his image and face. In fact, he could have called people over, or even the army, but he didn't. It was probably because the main system wanted to maintain the image of pressure, coldness, and absolute authority. If someone climbed on top of it, it would be too disillusioned. Life was not satisfactory, and there were a lot of shackles on one's body. For example, the Grand Uncle and Sang Liang each had their own shackles. Sang Liang said calmly, Ning Shu, what gave you the courage to do such a thing? Ning Shu, of course it's because I'm beautiful and cute. What I want is just a little merit. Ning Shu said, that's right. I won't give you any merit at all. Not even $100? Sang Liang was used to only taking in and not taking out. Even at this time, he was still stubbornly holding on. At this point, it was no longer a matter of merit. Ning Shu just wanted to make a big deal out of it. No matter what method he used, Ning Shu, Don't talk, I'm going to sleep for a while. With that, he really closed his eyes and even his breathing calmed down a little. A golden aura wrapped around Ning Shu's body. Ning Shu stopped talking, and Sang Liang focused his eyes on the Origin King. The Origin King felt a little uncomfortable being stared at by his all-like eyes and couldn't help but roll his eyes. What are you looking at me for? I'm just a follower. Before she did something, she didn't even discuss it with me. Sang Liang took a deep breath, suppressed the violence in his heart, and asked the Origin King, "You created an army of souls?" The Origin King glanced at Ning Shu, who was sleeping on Sang Liang's shoulder, and couldn't help but chuckle in his heart. She slept just like that, making him face such an awkward situation. What kind of animal behavior was this? Ning Shu was not really asleep, but leaning on Sang Liang, she found that there was a special kind of energy fluctuation on Sang Liang's body that radiated to her body, making her feel very comfortable. Even the energy running in her body was a little faster. What kind of physique did Sang Liang have? Chapter 41-45. If Sang Liang was a void creature, then what was his true form? Void creatures had their own special racial talents, so he was a little curious about Sang Liang's racial talent. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Ning Shu sped up his cultivation. Senior uncle would definitely come, sooner or later. He had to rest well for the battle. Hopefully, senior uncle would come later. She just jumped on Sang Liang's back on a whim and didn't expect there to be an unexpected gain. Sang Liang looked at the Origin King, who decided to hide the trade secrets. Fun. Sang Liang suddenly looked at him like he was an idiot. The Origin King felt insulted, but he had nothing to say. At this time, Sang Liang calmed down and asked for the information he wanted. Sang Liang, I originally wanted to make a deal with you, but you're so insincere when doing business. What's the point? Ning Shu sneered in his heart. He bought a fish and asked how it was cooked, braised, or steamed. If he didn't say it, he was insincere. So, he didn't want to sell? Obviously, the Origin King couldn't detect the logic problem. He was a little hesitant about whether to say it or not. He glanced at Ning Shu, whose eyes were closed. It was really infuriating. If he were to face such a situation, he would not be able to handle it. Just as the Origin King was hesitating, a cold wind appeared in the consultation room. It was cold and had an almost indiscernible smell of decay, like damp wood. Ning Shu, who was knocking his head on Sang Liang's shoulder, opened his eyes and looked at the person who appeared. His appearance caused the temperature in the consultation room to drop. Sometimes, coldness represented the loss of energy. Senior uncle was colder than before. In the past, he was cold, indifferent, and ruthless. Now, it was even colder than before. His face was snow-white, but his black hair and black clothes made his face even paler. His entire body was cold to the extreme. Just looking at him with his eyes would make one feel cold. Senior uncle saw the state of Sang Liang and Ning Shu and raised his eyebrows, a trace of surprise flashing in his eyes. He said to Ning Shu, "Come down." Ning Shu, "Okay, as long as you return the merit to me." The grand uncle obviously didn't know what had happened. Sang Liang explained, "She wants the merit points in the account. She won't give it to her." That's it. The grand elder was silent for a moment. What position do you have to ask for this merit? He was no longer a member of the organization, yet he still had the cheek to ask for the organization's things. Ning Shu shook his head. That's not right. Although I've resigned, I still have to take my salary. Once this debt is cleared, it will be completely cleared. Do you understand? Grand uncle, come down first. Ning Shu shook his head and took a deep breath, which was mixed with Sang Liang's scent. I don't want to. His body is very comfortable. I don't know why, but I want to eat him. The grand elder and Sang Liang both frowned. Ning Shu continued, his physique must be very special. Tell me, is it the flesh of Tang Seng? I want to live forever. I want to live as long as the sky. I want to compete with the sun and moon. I want to be invincible in the east. The grand elder's tone was light, but very dangerous. Come down. Ning Shu, then return the merit to me. I don't want any more or less merit in my account. The Grand Elder narrowed his eyes and glanced at the Origin King next to him. The Origin King immediately moved to the side. Why are you looking at me? I'm just a passerby. I have no right to speak and no right to act. Ningxu was more and more certain that Sang Liang's physique was a bit special. In the past, when she was weak, she only felt that Sang Liang was the main system. It was normal for him to be aloof and not like to interact with people. Now that she thought about it, it should be possible for him to not interact with people. Besides, he was a void creature. Did he need to interact with some weak mission enforcers? He only needed to issue an order. As Ningxu thought about it, he buried his face in Sang Liang's neck and took a deep breath, as if he was inhaling catmint. An intoxicated expression appeared on his face. Sang Liang's body couldn't be any stiffer. The Grand Elder, the Origin King. Although he didn't know what to do now, the Origin King still wanted to give Ningxu a thumbs up. After all, there weren't many people who would court death like this. Sang Liang was furious. His face, which had always been expressionless, turned purple with anger. He tried his best to pull the arm wrapped around his neck, but Ningxu didn't let go. After tossing and turning, Sang Liang's head was sweating. The Grand Elder walked over calmly and pulled Ningxu's clothes to separate her from Sang Liang. Ningxu hugged Sang Liang tightly. This force made Sang Liang stagger. The Grand Elder, let go? What do you think you're doing? Ningxu laughed in her heart. It was great to have a hostage in her hands. Ningxu, give me the thing and I'll let go. Are you all deaf? If you don't give me what I want, you want me to let go? Dream on. Just by grabbing her clothes, Ningxu felt that the Grand Elder's hand was very cold. It was refreshing and cold. What an ice man, Sang Liang gritted his teeth. Just kill him. The Origin King suddenly took a step forward. It seemed that he was still very worried about Ningxu. Ningxu smiled. She didn't look like she was about to be hacked to death at all. Instead, she leaned closer to Sang Liang's neck and almost stuck out her tongue to lick it. Her tone was very excited. Before I die, I must take a bite and taste it. The Origin King's expression gradually became cold. What kind of child was this? She was simply a brat. Was there a need to be so desperate for something? The Origin King thought about it and felt very touched. After all, why was she looking for merit? It was for him because he needed the energy body. However, whether they could return alive was another question. The more she was by Sang Liang's side, the more Ningxu felt as light as a swallow. Her whole body was floating and very relaxed. The energy in his body sped up and became much more active. Sang Liang was really like Tang Sanzang. She really wanted to take a bite. What kind of top-grade physique was this? Ningxu felt that she had found the reason why Grand Uncle always took Sang Liang with him. The two of them were inseparable. She really wanted to take Sang Liang home. With this thought in mind, Ningxu did just that. The golden dragon appeared under Sang Liang's feet. Then the golden dragon broke through the roof, jumped out, and escaped. The Origin King, fuck, did you forget someone? Why did you leave me here? Grand Uncle disappeared in a flash and chased after the golden dragon. The Origin King, who was ignored, left by himself. He was very disappointed. Was he not important at all? The golden dragon was very fast and quickly escaped from the organization. However, Grand Uncle was even faster. He blocked the golden dragon's path. Grand Uncle's expression was very cold as he stared at Ningxu on Sang Liang's back. A great battle was about to break out. Now, they were quite like a man and a woman fighting for a man. Ningxu sighed, let me have some fun. Maybe I'll return him. Chapter 41-46. Have some fun? What kind of tiger-like words were these? When the Origin King heard this sentence, he didn't quite understand what it meant, but when he saw the ugly expressions of the Grand Elder and Sang Liang, he guessed that it wasn't something good. Sang Liang almost squeezed the words out of his throat, full of murderous intent. Do you want to die? Ningxu, I don't want to die, but if I can die in your hands and have a taste, it's really worth it. What an exaggerated aria. A black sword appeared in the Grand Elder's hand. He held the black sword and slashed at Ningxu. It was reasonable to say that when encountering such danger, people would subconsciously let go of Sang Liang to avoid the danger. Sang Liang didn't move, obviously believing in the Grand Elder. However, Ning Shu grinned and hugged Sang Liang's neck, not letting go. A huge golden dragon blocked in front of Sang Liang and Ning Shu. Clang! The golden dragon collapsed, but the attack was born. Immediately, the golden dragon quickly condensed and blocked in front of Yi Shiwen. The Grand Elder's expression became even colder. Ning Shu laughed like a villain. Don't forget that there is still a hostage in my hands. Don't use too much force or we might die together. She laughed arrogantly, tilting her head and taking another sip of the catmint. He is really a treasure. Sang Liang couldn't stand being coveted like a piece of meat on a chopping board, being looked at like food. The loss outweighed the gain. If you return my merit, I will naturally let him go. If you don't give me something, I won't let him go. It's such a simple thing, but you have to repeat it again and again. Don't you understand? Ning Shu was also a little impatient. If you continue to compete, I will bite your neck directly next time. I guess his blood is special. If you attack me, I will slash you. Tell me either you give me merit, or I want him. The Grand Elder's eyes were cold. He stretched out his hand and directly grabbed the Origin King with a pair of huge hands. The Origin King, who was watching the show, was caught off guard and was still at a loss. What does it have to do with me? Senior Grand Uncle, exchange. Ning Shu probed again. It seemed that Sang Liang was still very important to the Grand Uncle. At least, the Grand Uncle didn't want to hurt him. That's what brothers should be like. I feel that Grand Uncle treats Sang Liang better than Jingqing. He could definitely beat up the Prime Minister ruthlessly. There must be something going on between the two of them. The Origin King was crying in his heart. His neck was being strangled, and it was as if his neck would be broken in the next second. Moreover, this person was really cold. It was as if he was stuck to a block of ice. The Origin King looked at Ning Shu pitifully. Save me, save me, Ning Shu frowned. Aren't they unkillable? Even if they die, they can still come back to life. The Origin King immediately reacted, that's right, I won't die. Ning Shu said to Tai Shu Liliu, this person has nothing to do with me. Even if you kill him, it has nothing to do with me. Just kill him. The Origin King immediately spat at Ning Shu. What kind of beast is this? Catching him was useless, so the Grand Uncle directly threw him out. The Origin King hit the mountain range, and the entire mountain range shook. The Origin King sank deep into the ground and didn't move for a long time. It was just unknown if he would die or not. Even if he didn't die, he was probably not far from death. Ning Shu took a deep breath of Sang Liang to suppress his shock. It was too terrible. The Origin King was really too miserable. Sang Liang, who was trembling with anger, said, I can give you merit. Ning Shu was angry. What's wrong with this person? At least he has some persistence and principles. She couldn't bear to part with Sang Liang. Whoa, just hold on a little longer, okay? Ning Shu desperately breathed in Sang Liang. While he could still breathe, he quickly breathed in. It wouldn't be so easy to breathe next time. Listening to the sound of people desperately breathing, Sang Liang's face was as black as the bottom of a pot. I've already given you merit. Let go. Ning Shu, I don't want to. As soon as I let go, you will attack me and kill me. I'm scared. With that, she hugged Sang Liang's neck tightly. I don't know when the next time will be. Sang Liang, come down, we won't attack. Ning Shu, then what about the merit? Sang Liang took out a messen space and stretched his hand back. There's something I want in here. How do you know if there's enough? Sang Liang was probably angry, so he didn't have any temper. He said in a flat tone, there's only more, not less. Ning Shu, put it in my hand. I want to hug your neck now. Sang Liang, let go first. Ning Shu, put it in my hand first. Sang Liang seemed to be too lazy to entangle with Ning Shu and directly stuffed it into Ning Shu's hand. Ning Shu grabbed the messen space and reluctantly let go of Sang Liang's neck. Sang Liang almost instantly left Ning Shu's side and appeared next to Tai. Tai Shu raised his black sword and was about to slash at Ning Shu, but Sang Liang stopped him. There's no need to fight with her. Sang Liang's voice was a little lower. I can feel the surging power in her body, and she seems to want to test her strength and find someone to fight. Ning Shu checked the space in the ring. There was a mountain of merit inside. Ning Shu was very happy. He could finally eat pastries. He was very happy to have achieved his goal. He looked at the two beautiful men with slender waists and long legs. It was a bit pleasing to the eye. However, Sang Liang was even more pleasing to the eye. He said to Sang Liang, "Let's keep in touch more in the future. Big brother, can I come again in the future?" Sang Liang turned and left, leaving Ning Shu with a very cold back. Tai Shu also left. Ning Shu wasn't angry at all. He waved at their backs. "I'll come and play with you when I'm free." It was a bit strange that they didn't fight. What was going on? After suffering such a big loss, they just let it go? Ning Shu took a deep breath. There seemed to be the smell of Sang Liang's body in the air. He really wanted to give Sang Liang some blood. There was a fragrance even without breaking the skin. If he let some blood, the fragrance would definitely be stronger. Ning Shu felt that there was nothing else to do and decided to go home to eat braised pork. However, he felt that he had forgotten something. Ning Shu thought for a while, but he couldn't remember anything. He went straight home. Earthworm saw Ning Shu and said, "The things you want are ready." Earthworm looked back. "Where's Virtual King?" Ning Shu hammered his palm. "I said I forgot something. It's Virtual King." She looked at the dishes on the table. She was too hungry after so long. It was better to eat first before going to find Virtual King. Ning Shu sat down and began to eat. Seeing Earthworm standing still, he said, "Eat too. Why are you standing there?" "Earthworm, I have no appetite." You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.